Okay, I'd like to call the City Council meeting to order. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk call the roll?
Mayor Primoroso?
Here.
Vice Mayor Jablin?
Here.
Councilmember Russo?
Here.
Councilmember Tinsley?
Here.
Councilmember Levy?
Here.
I see no additions, deletions, and modifications. Let's move on. We have announcements and presentations. Anything for tonight? No. Okay. Items of resident interest in board committee reports, and we will start with, we'll start with David. He usually has a couple of water things or something crazy going on.
Just one water thing, but I did one League of Cities thing. I attended the League of Cities Board of Directors meeting on January 28th, which was right here in Jupiter. Thank you, Jupiter, for hosting that. We appointed two people to Marcy's Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council, Mayor Abby Brennan from the village of Tequesta and Commissioner Allie Biggs from the city of Pahokee. We inducted a new associate member, RG Towers LLC. And I think the most important thing that we did was we went over the State League of Cities legislative priorities, which I'm just going to read off to you. If you have any questions, stop me. Residential sober homes. Pension plans and benefits, which I've been pushing and we have been pushing for a long time. Of course, home rule mandates, economic development and workforce training, the Bright Future Scholarship Program, internet sales and use tax, more against that than anything else, communication service and local business tax, gaming and gambling, though the league has not taken a particular position on that, vacation rentals. I think that's something that we're really going to be interested in. Effective growth management, housing and small city community development block grant policy, transportation, energy policy, public records, Amendment 1 distribution, which I think we all should be talking about. Make sure that our county gets their fair share of Amendment 1 money to buy environmentally sensitive lands, and also this money can be used for restoration of lands. Beach management, which is a very important issue to a lot of our neighbors, water quality and supply, and septic tanks. So those are the legislative priorities of the League of Cities. There was also a discussion about the vehicle for hires, which is, you probably heard the Uber, yes, and how we regulate that and whether we should regulate it, allow it, or how that's going to work in. And then, of course, the C51 Finance and Governance Work Group was discussed, which I've discussed at the council before. Also, we passed a proclamation of the Palm Beach County League of Cities declaring March 2015 as Ethics Awareness Month. Okay, I also attended the Loxahatchee River Management Coordinating Council meeting. I accidentally stepped out of the room for a moment. I was elected vice chair. Tom Howard was elected chair, replacing Aubrey Arrington from Loxahatchee River District. We went over some preliminary drawings for the Maston and Lanehart Dam, which they're updating the portage structure so you can carry your canoe from one side of the dam to the other side of the dam. They're going to try and make them as compliant with ADA as possible. Okay, then we also had the discussion about updating the Wild and Scenic River Management Plan, and we've actually postponed doing that because there's so much going on with the changes in the Comprehensive Everglades Restoration Program. We've actually decided to postpone that to the year 2020. So that will be a 10-year plan instead of a 5-year plan. So we're probably going to need to change that to the 10-year plan. Okay, and we had just a look at the water quality, and right now we are getting good water flows over the Lanehart Dam. We're getting the required minimum flow of 35 cubic feet per second, and we anticipate continuing that, especially with the new regulation or the new work that's going to be done with the Comprehensive Everglades Restoration Plan and the development of the Mecca Farms property as water storage. And that is my report.
Well, you had a lot of water activity going on in
I
January.
tell you, yeah, and it rained today.
Throw in the rapids and a couple other things, you were in good shape.
I tell you, it rained today, so I'm a very happy guy, I guess. Water tables are up.
Marcy.
Okay, I don't know how to start with that one. We attended the 13th anniversary of the Green Market, and as usual, our staff did a fantastic job as we handed out a record number of cake slices, but once again, that was very fun, and we really appreciate all of the vendors that donated all of those delicious cakes for our anniversary at the Green Market. I attended the Joint Professional Society's 2015 legislative breakfast here in Palm Beach Gardens. In attendance was Senator Maria Sachs, Representative Rooney, Pafford, Kerner, Powell, and Berman. I learned that this year there will be a lot of surplus funding apparently, and they expect it to go towards education, water resources, Amendment 1, which is what you just referred to, which is the clean water legislation. They're expecting $760 million earmarked for land conservation and water quality, which I thought was huge. Big number. So I don't know if I got that wrong, but that's what they said. Yeah.
Quarter of the doctor taxes.
Right. I also learned about House Bill 163, which, Max, you might find interesting. It relates to public records requests, which is one of the things that the League is working on. And the bill was spearheaded to clean up unnecessary lawsuits. Apparently, certain groups are taking advantage of the public record requests and asking certain people, sending them emails, and if they don't answer in a certain time period, they sue for attorney's fees and whatnot, and it's really becoming a big issue because they're not necessarily going through the clerk's office, they're just asking people in other departments, and it's becoming a big mess. So that was one thing that they really spoke about, which I found very interesting. I hope that they do get that legislation passed, because it will be good for all of us, I think. Some food for thought, which is one of the things that they remembered, or that they mentioned, I should say, is that we're the third largest state by population, as we already know, but we're 49th in the state for spending on mental health issues. So I thought that was something that was quite interesting, and hopefully, yep. And I thought that was something that we should, keep in our mind, because that's a sad state of affairs. The City of Palm Beach Gardens hosted Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council right here in our council chambers, and thank you to the staff for making that happen. Because of the legislative breakfast, the council went from there directly to here, so we didn't really have a lot of travel time, but it turned out great. And everyone was very appreciative, and we were great hosts, so I appreciate it being here. And that was actually on the same day as our Arbor Day, which I wasn't able to attend because I was here at Treasure Coast. Treasure Coast, of course, we still talked about All Aboard Florida. I shared with them our letter that we wrote, and then I also shared with them the 2-page letter of absolutely nothing, no substance, that they returned to us, not answering any of our questions. So because of that, we are going to have a workshop, an All Aboard workshop, where the members of All Aboard will be here to hopefully answer all of our questions. And that workshop, Patty, I think is on February 25th? 26th? February 26th. Okay, thank you.
You're stealing Jack's thunder, so
Oh, sorry,
skip
Jack.
on that one.
So, that's very important. Hopefully they will answer our questions, and Treasure Coast is actually very interested in that workshop as well. I'm very glad that they appointed alternate people, because I need an alternate, because Treasure Coast meeting is on the same day as my daughter's graduation of high school.
Oh.
So I'm missing that one. So I need an alternate, so glad they appointed one. Yes, I'm so excited. Yep. It's a long time coming.
18 years.
18 years, well, 17. She's 17. Last, I attended the DOT I-95 interchange PD&E workshop. I actually attended both of them. The one for for council people and staff, and then the other one, which was one that they hosted here for the public. And we had quite the attendance here. I'm not sure the numbers, but it had to have been at least 150 people here. It was very well attended. I'm glad that I stayed because I heard so many comments from all of our interested people, all of the people that were interested in this interchange. And granted, they gave us a lot of statistics. I wish that DOT was a little bit better at answering the residents' questions because they didn't quite answer all the questions as I had hoped with the statistics that I thought they should be answering them with. In fact, George Webb and our own engineer was able to answer some of the questions better, so I'm glad that they were here to help out. One point that I learned and I wanted to mention is that the potential interchange will, according to them, add more traffic on Central Boulevard, which is what was stated in the meeting. However, it will reduce the traffic at the intersections of PGA and Central, of PGA and Military, which are very high volume traffic, by 12%. And that's a pretty big number. And then they have two concepts. I don't know if you heard. One of the concepts is to fix the interchange at PGA and or add the interchange at Central. And the one at Central obviously was somewhat controversial because people are concerned, as am I, about the aesthetics, about the traffic, and about how they're going to take care of the actual details, because obviously the devil's in the details, as we know with the flyover request over closer to PGA National. So we really have to pay close attention. We did state our comments. I know I did. Our city engineer stated his comments and made sure that they were aware of all the developments that we have along Central Boulevard, and hopefully they'll continue with the traffic and the planning development process and keep us thoroughly informed as to their progress. However, another interesting point that you might want to know that came about in those meetings, excuse me, still recovering from that cold, but I'm not coughing, so I'm happy about that. That came up in the meetings was we had the two principals of the elementary school and also Duncan, the middle school. They were there and obviously very concerned about the interchange because it is very close to their school. But one of the things that they made very clear at this public workshop was their concern about the fact that not only is there traffic, but that the fact that 117th is one way in and one way out. And with the fact that our park is extremely popular, and also the tennis center is becoming and has been very popular, there is a lot of cars going back and forth. So they spoke to DOT about that issue, but they also made it very clear that their concern, especially for emergencies, and we've heard about it in the news and other states, when there's an emergency, having one way in and one way out is very, very concerning for those types of situations. So I just wanted to bring that up. I know that it's something that has been discussed in the past, but having listened to, or that was my first time hearing the two principals talk about their concerns, and they were very valid, and so I thought that we need to keep that in mind too. So I just wanted to point that out to you because it was interesting, and they're absolutely correct. You know, we have to consider the students and emergency. I know that the police, our chief, has brought that up in the past as well, and that's it. Oh, actually, one more thing. Sorry. Since our monitors are still black, I thought that even though this is not in our city, I just wanted to make note that the Vietnam Traveling Memorial Wall is at the FAU Jupiter campus, Abacoa Town Center, and it's on April 8th through the 13th. So I just wanted to let you guys know about that.
Okay. Marcy, that was excellent on the I-95 interchange. I think we're going to have to rely on David going forward on that. David, this is, as you know, is going to take a long time, and you'll be the only one up here, maybe, that'll be sitting here that'll maybe can make a difference with it. I think all of us, the rest of us, are going to be gone by the time it really picks up steam. It's going to take a number of years. You know, as you well know, we worked with the Turnpike interchange by Steeplechase. Eric, you remember that, you know, how much work that was, and working together with the neighbors and so forth. So I will say that it's very important for the neighbors and everybody to come together and understand that this is something that probably will happen, and that, you know, we got to work hard to make it be as good as we can. Sometimes everybody thinks that, you know, I don't want the neighbors over there to think, well, you know, we won at baseball so we could stop this interchange. That's probably not going to happen, because the DOT, as you well know, is the DOT. And if we can't stop a train that's going nowhere, I don't know how we're going to stop an interchange. But anyway, that's going to be a very, very important issue, and we have to make sure our upper elected officials, the people at the state, are involved. I remember when we were up in Tallahassee meeting with the DOT years ago on the other one, and at the time, Senator Atwater was very, very helpful, and we have to make sure that we include everybody in that loop. Well, I guess I get to report on a couple things. That Marcy, you were here for Arbor Day, but I was at Arbor Day, and David, and we were all there, as we usually, the mayor and Eric and so forth, and it was a great celebration. Was it the 19th? Am I remembering it? It was the 19th year? I can't believe I've been out there for 19 years, and the Women's Club of the Gardens Women's Club has donated so many of those trees to make that park beautiful. Unfortunately, this year we were missing the children because of the weather. It's just so nice when the children are out there. We still had some kids, from Hal Watkins, but you know, not the younger ones. I like helping them with the shovel, but it was still a good day. We also all attended the PGA annual meeting. I see Bob out there now, and that was a great annual meeting that we usually go to, so that was kind of nice. I think you were out of town, right, for that? Yeah, right.
Celebrating my birthday.
Well, you've been, happy birthday, and you work very hard, as we all know from your report, so.
And Bob said never come back. You miss one of Bob's meetings, you're done.
He said he's not going to vote for you next time.
Tough guy. Hey, I'm turned out, so it's all right.
I attended the North County Economic Development meeting up at Scripps. It was an excellent meeting. Don Herring was there to present all the members of that committee with a presentation of Alton, which I know we're pretty familiar with, but not everybody else was. So it was kind of neat to see that presentation. Everybody's excited about the economic development that can occur there, and you know, something that we desperately need. So everybody's looking forward to that. I also want to remind everybody that the Honda's coming up. This is our last meeting before the Honda. It's going to be a great event. As we all know, Phil Mickelson committed to play. We have Rory McIlroy, many others. Tiger Woods probably will play as long as he's okay. As you know, he's made a great commitment to our area. Ever since he moved here, he has played here, and we anticipate him playing. And
Did you see he got hurt today?
No.
He walked off the course on 12, I think, today. 15.
Well, there you go. I mean, we know that if he was okay, he'd be playing, because he has made a commitment to this area. That's perfectly what I said. So other people are more onto that or whatever. That's a shame. He's really struggling. He is a good man, a great athlete, and hopefully he gets the game together. The other thing, I don't know if everybody saw it, the Nicholas Children's Hospital now is going to be throughout. The Miami Children's Hospital now will be renamed the Nicholas Children's Hospital. The Nicholases have made, through their healthcare charity, a $60 million commitment, which we at the Honda Children's Healthcare Charity make a major donation every year. So it's kind of exciting to see that everything that's going on with the help of the Nicholas family and the Honda and so forth. And I want to remind everybody it's going to be a great event out there. And at the end, last year, there was $2.5 million donated to charity. And this year, we're hoping to get to $3 million donated to charity. So the greatest thing about that tournament is we get national, international coverage, we get economic impact, and at the end of the day, our charities really are the ones to gain by it from the money that's donated. So that's about all I have.
What's,
You saw Eric's rate.
What's that? Yeah, Eric's got the
Your shirt?
I got my shirt on. I wore that. I've been wearing these shirts for the last couple of days. I'm continuing. I need more shirts, so anybody...
Actually, I wore the Honda shirt to the Gasparilla Day. I don't know.
Well, to be honest, I was going to wear the Honda shirt tonight, but as you know, it's a short sleeve. He's tougher than I am, so he wore a short sleeve shirt, so it was a little too cool.
A little cool. A little cool.
Eric?
Well, you guys covered everything. There's nothing left for me. I just want to weigh in a little bit about that 117th Street, because, for years, those two principals, even their predecessors, many of their predecessors, have written us over the years about 117th Street and the fact that there's only one way in and one way out. And it is becoming more and more of a problem, considering the fact that our tennis program is so popular, and the new courts will be opening, I don't know when, Jack, I don't know when.
Approximately 3 weeks.
3 weeks. So that's going to add a lot more traffic on the road, and we need to find a solution, so I just wanted to mention that. And Honda, I'll be out there. Hope I see a lot of you guys out there, and it's going to be a great year this year. We're looking forward to a wonderful tournament. That's it.
Okay, first of all, I just want to recognize a couple people in the audience tonight. We have our former County Commissioner, Karen Marcus, in the front row. Karen, good to see you. And Commissioner Chip Block from Jupiter Inlet Colony. Chip, thanks for joining us. You're a good partner with us with the 911 dispatch in EOCC, so we're glad to see you, and thanks for coming tonight. We appreciate it. A couple of things. January is pretty much the State of the City month as I travel around, and I got a chance to speak to the Rotary Club last month, the Historical Society. Bob Hodgkins was kind enough to let me speak at the PGA National annual POA meeting, and then I spoke at Marisol on Monday, Marisol Country Club. So a lot of good things in our city. It's certainly easy to talk about it, and nice receptions, great people, good questions, willing to learn what's going on and what's happening, and I certainly enjoy doing that. And January is a fun month to get out and talk a little bit about the city. In terms of the Honda Classic, one thing I learned from the PGA meeting was, I guess 2 years ago there was like 225 countries dialed into networks, and now it's up to like 272, I think was the latest number. So, and it's over 200 million homes, I think it was. So it's a great event for us. We appreciate PGA National hosting that and doing that for us, and I'm not sure what's left on the contract, but certainly we're one more year? Well, hopefully we're going to extend that, because the exposure that we get from that tournament, from our city, really all in North County, maybe Palm Beach County as a whole, is just tremendous, and we're hope that there'll be some extensions in the future going forward.
Yeah, I see no reason why there wouldn't be. The tour is happy, the players are happy, Honda's happy, PGA National wants to go forward, so I see no reason why it wouldn't. Hopefully everybody come together, and it normally happens right after this tournament.
Okay.
There'll be 1 year. They usually start negotiations after this one, and then announced at the the final one.
Well, please let us know. Keep us up to date. I'm sure you will, just
Sure.
in case there's any issues or things we need to talk about, because everywhere you go now, people really talk about that event as being one of the best in the county, and it's in our city. So we're
Well, as you well know, nationally, it's number one. Other than a major, it's the number one up for television.
Is it?
The ratings are the highest for that. They were tied with the one in Phoenix, and now I believe that we basically pulled ahead. But that's unbelievable to have, other than a major,
Yeah.
To have that much. And I think it has a lot to do with the field, the weather, and so forth. As you well know, the weather here is going to be a lot better that week than it will be up in the rest of the country.
And is that the first tournament of the Florida Swing?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a benefit too, to get everybody here before Doral and Orlando and some of the others. So,
First for golf.
first for golf.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Joe, if you think if we gave out maroon jackets or something, you think that would make it better?
I don't think so, although I will tell you that Barbara Nicholas was excited because I had a maroon shirt on, so. You know her grandson, it was Florida State.
We stick with the navy and the khaki pants.
And one more update. Next week, the Historical Society meeting on Wednesday. The guest speaker will be Mike Lyons. So kind of ironic, we had a bad weather day. So Mike's going to be there speaking Historical Society about his 21 years at Channel 25. So certainly try to make that. They've had some great speakers there and kind of lighter attendance, so we need to get that going a little bit. And Mike Lyons, I'm sure, is going to have some great exhibits and great stories to talk about. Historical Society? Oh, it's at the Christ Fellowship amendment building across the street on North Lake Boulevard on the South Campus side. And I spoke last month, and I guess there was about 25 people there, but
I was going to say, nobody could top the January speaker.
I know, but, just hearing people like Mike Lyons and it's just their stories, and they've been in this area for so long, the information is endless. So if you can stop by, I'm sure they'd be glad to see a lot of people in there, seeing Mike speak and talk.
It's funny, I can't believe he's been here for 21 years.
Yeah, Mike.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And John Matthews, too. We can't get rid of these weather guys. John Matthews has been here like 30 years.
Thank God they're not term limited.
And Steve Weagle's been here a while, too, so.
Joe, didn't one of your children, wasn't one of your kids a weatherman, too?
So I think he did the weather with Mike Lyon.
I think he did. Yeah, there he is.
I think he did it more than once.
All right, that's all I have. Let's move on to the city manager report. And we have Jack Downey with us tonight. Mr. Ferris is a little under the weather.
Correct. And he had prepared a beautiful PowerPoint that looks like sitting in tonight and approved all the technical stuff that could go on. There will be no video tonight, all the monitors.
Oh, I'm sorry. I also ruined the microphone. All the monitors are not working but this evening, so it'll be a little bit old school. But the meeting is being recorded. It is being streamed live out to the public, and we also have the phone-in live broadcast. But the PowerPoint did include a couple of great announcements. Number one, our police department, headed up by Steve Stepp, they received for the 12th consecutive year from the National Association of Town Watch a national award for Crime Night Out. Congratulations to you and your staff. Charity and charity golf tournaments are a big thing at the municipal golf course, and this year, for the 8th year in a row, the annual Ladies Pink Ball Golf Tournament raised over $7,000 for the Susan G. Coleman Foundation. 88 ladies participated, and we want to thank our pro, Sherry, and our director, Charlotte. And this is another great charitable event. We host about 6 a year at the golf course. And for this second year in a row, we're the recipient of a grant from the Ballin Isles Charitable Foundation. And due to that grant, we were able to present Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream at Veterans Plaza last week. We had over 1,100 in attendance. We thank Ballin Isles for their continuous support of our cultural arts programs. We want to thank Christy and Laura and Amy and everybody in the rec division that put that together. And was spoken of earlier tonight, the Save the Date. The City Council had asked for Mr. Ferris to work with All Aboard Florida, and we have set up for 7 p.m. February 26th, a Thursday evening, right here in these chambers, a town hall meeting with them to discuss their upcoming plans. And last but not least, just a few highlights. It was hit on very heavy. The I-95 was the kickoff meeting. It was hosted here. The City Council allowed their building here to be shared with the FDOT, and it was great attendance. It was standing room only, and it was the first of many meetings. The next major involvement would be summer 2015, as they must have said 20 times, it's the beginning of the process. And, of course, Honda. And there's probably nothing left to say except it's the greatest event, and we're so proud to be the host here for many years, and you will see some new promotions by the city during that time period, announcing us as the host city in many different fashions, so we'll keep them a surprise till you see them. And that's it.
All right, Jack, thank you. I just want to make sure the All Aboard meeting, we have that on the marquee out
Yeah,
front,
we will.
at least a couple weeks before. Okay.
I have a whole press release and a number of ways to get out to the public. The electronic board, our website.
And I think the purpose of our meeting, as we had talked about before, is the specific questions that we asked in relation to All Aboard coming through our city. So I don't think we're going to have the people come here and talk about their strategy from day one up to today. I think that's been beaten up enough in the paper, and they've done a ton of presentations on that already. So hopefully they'll recap that, but more importantly, they'll talk about the issues that we have raised in letters to them directly and how it affects our city and what we need to do. So that's what I hope to get out of the workshop. I'm sure all of us, that's kind of the purpose of bringing them up here, instead of saying, yeah, we're going to build a train that's going to go from Miami. I don't want to hear too much of the specifics of what's already going on. I think we need to get down to the issues that we addressed in that letter, and there are many. So that would be my intent of the workshop, so I'm just trying to get your guys' feel.
That meeting is starting at 7? I will try my best, but unfortunately, that was the only day they can do it, and that is the first day at a Honda, and I do have commitments there, so
It's okay.
I will do my best, and I know I will try and get here at some point, anyway.
Okay.
Thank you.
And we'll have the all aboard on our website as well, as far as the meeting date.
We will.
All information. Okay, great. Thank you. Any questions for Jack?
Nope.
All right, let's move on to comments from the public, and first up, we have Mr. Kevin Easton.
Good afternoon. For the record, Kevin Easton, 8511 40th Terrace North, Palm Beach Gardens. Again, I'm here to address some of the issues that we're having on the Sunset Neighborhood Project. And I realize that nobody can hit a home run out of the park all the time. Mistakes have been made by everyone. I even make mistakes, I'll admit it. But the county and the city, during the annexation process, they certainly made a few mistakes, and there are a lot of unresolved issues. One of them is like the canal deal, or canal gate, as I call it now. Again, I tried to enlighten you on how they tried to pull a fast one on our city here last month. They didn't do it because we had some smart people up there looking out for our best interests. But we've made a lot of mistakes, they've made a lot of mistakes, and I'm just here because I don't want to dwell on the mistakes, but I want these things fixed. I want them fixed correctly. We'd like to make sure that the canal is addressed. Honestly, the water, I've lived there since 1983, and I can live with it for the next 30 years without it. It seems like the prices are just going higher and higher. I was just informed that that we are not going to be able to roll the costs from the connection from our house to the water line, that we will have to pay for those out of pocket. Okay, that's fine, but that's, you know, that seems like we should be able to you know, put those on top of our taxes so that nobody gets left out and all of their water gets hooked up. And I thought we had actually talked about that. I just want what's best for everybody. I mean, you can call me crazy, call me you can call me a job creator, but we're here today because I've tried to help get this neighborhood up to the standards of our signature city in Palm Beach Gardens. And we all pay a lot of taxes. And for these taxes, the neighborhood expects the same level of services to be provided for us. So one of the questions that I really was kind of wondering was did this whole project ever go before the Planning and Zoning Committee Board for review and then ask for the recommendations? The way I say that is because right off the bat, we dropped the sidewalks and the lighting from the project, even though the first project had the numbers for it. Well, I realize that the sidewalks can't all be put where you want them to, but certainly on 40th Terrace, there's plenty of room for sidewalks, and yet this wasn't considered. We could have meandering sidewalks, so if someplace the sidewalk is too...
Mayor, that's 3 minutes.
Okay. We need to have a clock up there. Go ahead, Kevin, finish up.
I'm sorry. Well, yeah, like I say, there's just so many things. I can't even begin to do this in 3 minutes, and maybe we should have a couple of council meetings a month so that we can address these issues, because they certainly aren't being addressed. Okay, I don't know. The hookup costs for the meters, according to Todd, were $3,500 for the meter that we're going to roll into our tax rolls. That's an awful expensive meter, and then we still aren't going to get hooked up. You know, and you're going to have people that are saying, well, I just can't afford this. So we really haven't addressed all of the issues. The charrette didn't address all of the issues, and like I said, I just, you know, it's sad for me here to come up here time after time and think of all the time I've spent up here, and then be accused of, you know, just trying to be a rabble-rouser. And I'm not a rabble-rouser. I want my neighborhood to look as good as everybody else's, and I think that we deserve that. We pay the same amount of taxes, the gas taxes. We've paid all this stuff, communication taxes.
Okay.
Okay?
Thanks, Kevin. I'm going to let Marcy respond to some of those questions, because we've designated her as our liaison to kind of work through some of that issue. So go ahead. You're the one who knows zoning and setbacks and all that stuff. So let's hear it again, because we've heard this like 5 times. So let's go ahead and say it again so we can get this resolved.
Well, I'm not going to say everything and rehash the entire thing, but
Right.
I do want to say a couple of things. One, the connection from the house to the water line, that was stated From day one, I went to every charrette that they had here, every meeting, and I know that Todd will be happy to readdress that as well. From day one, every single person said that that would be a fee that the homeowner would have to pay. In fact, one gentleman I remember, he was curious about it, so Seacoast gave him some rough estimates at the workshop, so he had an idea of how much it would cost. So I can tell you, everything was on the up and up. We made it very clear to every resident what they would have to pay and what would be included in the taxable amount. In addition, sidewalks and lighting was addressed. We sent cost estimates to every household in the neighborhood, and the majority did not want to pay for lighting, did not want to pay for sewer, and the sidewalks themselves do not fit. We discussed it. We tried to make it happen. We realized that with the right-of-way width, with the sidewalk width, with the easement and utilities, sidewalks would not happen because there is not enough room. Now, Todd can go into it in detail at another time with you again, but we cannot fit sidewalks. It was made very clear. We did a whole presentation with graphics, pretty pictures to show that it's impossible unless the sidewalk would be at the front door of some of the houses in that neighborhood. It can't fit. Everybody on this council does not have sidewalks in their neighborhood except for me. I'm the only one. Am I right? Does anybody else have a sidewalk in their neighborhood? Not every neighborhood in Palm Beach Gardens has sidewalks. Now, unfortunately, in your neighborhood, we tried, but it does not work. When it comes to the other stuff, did you provide us with the appropriate easements yet? I don't think that's been resolved. So we've been doing everything that we've said. When it comes to the annexation, it was done as per law, and everything was put in writing, everything was on the record as to what was going to occur and what wasn't. I'm sorry that you might not have understood it correctly. However, you came to us, we've been trying to put and to do everything to make your neighborhood as pleasant as possible and to do what we can do. We've created a whole entire process to get the water to your neighborhood, and we are now being held up because you won't provide the easement for the necessary utilities. Like I said last time, all of us have easements in front of our houses that we've had to dedicate for the utilities that our houses have. Front and the back. I have one in the side, front and the back. Nonetheless, we're not going to rehash this again, but I'm just saying there are steps that we've gone through, and we've been on the up and up, and we've done everything that we said we were going to do. And it was all there in plain daylight, and every Seacoast and everyone else had made it very clear what was going to happen.
So then this didn't go in front of the Planning and Zoning Board for review and comments?
This does not have
Doesn't have
in
to.
front of Planning and Zoning.
It's not a project in our city, okay. Then the only other...
Kevin, there's no more discussion. We'll take it up again at the next meeting, but I just want to give you an idea. You know, you talk about the timing. We're trying our best to get this project started and underway, and now we've run into some roadblocks we didn't anticipate, and we're not getting resolution. You should know that personally. And then also, I'm going to give you an idea. We have a fire station we're going to look at tonight that's taken almost 2 years to plan and process through our city as well. So we're not stonewalling, we're not delaying, we're trying to get your project moving, we're trying to get the process done because people in there want it, but we need to get through some of these roadblocks that have now been put up. So everybody's got to cooperate, and we'll find a resolution. So we'll talk about it next time.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
One question, was there a reason why they couldn't put the hookups? Did everybody not pay the same amount of money, or was it a legal thing?
It's a private property improvement at that point. From the water meter to your house you own that piping, and so you have to pay for that last hookup yourself. We've included the price of the meters in each one of them so that they wouldn't have to pay that individually. But we can't do that. We can't roll that into the assessment because it's improvement on private property. They own that. The infrastructure is in the utility easement up to the water meter.
I knew there was a reason. I didn't know what it was. Okay.
The same thing is like if you have a water leak at your house, you would have to pay for the plumbing from the meter to your house if that's where the leak is. If it's upstream of the meter, Seacoast will come do that.
Only for another 13 months. Then I'm going to come here and look for you to pay for it.
Right. Just by the way, Joe, that's exactly the same every single place, including the county. The county does the same exact thing.
I knew there was a reason. I just didn't remember. One thing while I have the mic, Patty, if you could just tell people when there's 30 seconds left, this way it'll help them, because they're going to get 3 minutes.
Actually, Chuck is going to run the timer from down there.
Oh, okay, great.
Thank you.
'Cause it's, yes. Great, thank you.
Thank you. Carol Courtney, please. Hi, Carol. Name and address for the record, please.
For the record, my name is Carol Courtney. I live at 8511 40th Terrace North in Palm Beach Gardens.
Thank you.
I just want to say that I'm kind of disappointed the way this whole thing has gone down at 40th Terrace, too. I thought that there would be more interaction between the residents and whoever is planning. I mean, I've seen blueprints or whatever, but there was never like, okay, this is the way it's going to be done. It was like, okay, we're not doing it, we can't do it, we can't do it, and then boom, as soon as it got passed, then there was no more talking about how it was going to run or how it's going to happen. At least I was not made aware of it. So they're coming down and they're like saying, okay, they're marking out the lots of how much right away and all that is, and they're taking two beautiful trees when it's not necessary. Because Kevin had said, in fact, he was trying to save everybody money by like rerouting it, and that's where it got into the easements. That's why he did not want to have the easements just taken, because it's stupid. Why go an extra, 50 yards or whatever and go all the way around? I mean, we're talking about a lot of pipe and a lot of things that isn't necessary because he owns all the property, so why can't you run it on the other side of the property and save all that material? And not only that, the cost of cutting down all the trees and everything else. So I just felt I wanted to say, for the record, I wish there had been a little bit more conversation going on after the ball got rolling, or at least before the steamroller did hit, because I think a lot of things could have been a lot clearer for everybody. And this is not a very good way of discussing things, because I'm going to say what I say, and that's it. I can't say anything more. And when I leave, then you're going to like say, oh, well, this, and there's no exchange. And I would have really appreciated being able to say, hey, there's this beautiful tree. If we just move the thing 10 foot the other way, we can save this beautiful tree. It's like a miniature one of those. It's beautiful. And I'm a tree hugger. I hug that tree. I would hate to see it go. I understand if it has to go, it has to go. Same thing with the oak that's going to go. But it doesn't have to go. If it just goes 10 foot this way, it doesn't have to go. We don't have to kill those trees.
Thank you, Carol.
May I ask, Todd, would you mind helping out, just explaining? I totally agree. I'd like to save as many trees as possible, and I totally can empathize with what you're saying. We did have 3 public hearings in regards to this afterwards when we made the decision. However, Todd could help you kind of have the back and forth and explain we had to have a looped system, which is why we had to have a longer easement. He'll help you out. It doesn't
have to go all the way to the back.
Yeah, just let him go.
Just to cover the alignment issue of the pipes, we looked at a lot of alignment issues. We looked at routing it in shorter directions. There's setback issues that come into existing structures on Mr. Easton's property. There's 3 separate properties that have setback issues. We could not physically get the pipe in there. Pipe needs to go where it needs to go. That way we can maintain it. It's the best engineering alignment that can be done in there.
Oops, sorry. What you're talking about is Seacoast, not
Yes.
us. And that's one thing also. There's another entity here that's not just us, the city. Seacoast is the one that is doing the actual work and maintaining the pipes, and they have the regulations. In fact, I'm going to be speaking on another project in regards to Seacoast and FP&L, who they have to have these monster easements sometimes, and we need to start working a little bit better with them. That's something that we have no control over.
What about the roads?
The roads are being located within the existing right-of-way that we have. They're located within the right-of-way that we just accepted from Palm Beach County. The original alignment, that's where it's being located. I did speak to Easton that I would be more than happy to go out and meet with him. We have a project sign-up that personally has the engineering department's phone number on it. We accept any calls. We accept probably 4 or 5 calls a week discussing these with the homeowners themselves. We have a team out there right now that's aligning up all the valves with the quickest way to get to their well sites when they abandon their wells. They're speaking to the residents. They're giving us our numbers. They're calling us directly. So there's a lot of open communication between the homeowners, the residents, and our office, as well as the people in the field. So
can you tell me the current width of the road now?
It's a 30-foot right-of-way. So when you take 30 feet, you put 22 feet of pavement on it, you put a water main in it, there's nothing left.
Okay.
when we got to transition up to driveways that exist currently today. So
But the
those-
current roads now, they're going to be wider than where they are now as
Yes,
far as, yeah.
to put it in context, your community has a 60-foot right-of-way.
Yeah.
This community has a 30-foot right-of-way.
Oh, wow.
So it's
Okay.
half of what that is.
And keep in mind also that this community was not designed with this infrastructure, so retrofitting is a lot harder than actually designing it, on paper and then building it after the fact. So it is a cumbersome process. We appreciate your comments, and please get Todd's information, and he would be happy to help you as you have questions through this whole process.
Yep, and we'll be happy. Seacoast meets with us in the field, so we meet with any individual that would like to come out and meet. We'll be more than happy to meet with you, Mr. Reese, and anybody else on site.
Great.
And hopefully we should have the appraisals back within 2 to 3 weeks, and we'll try to resolve the other alignment issues or the issues of the appraisals, and then we'll be finished with that.
Okay, great. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Carol. Sal Faso?
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Sal Faso. I live at 7741 Blue Heron Way in West Palm Beach, that happens to be within IBIS. I'm presenting to you today on behalf of the North County Neighborhood Coalition on a subject related to the Solid Waste Authority.
Oh, yeah.
You may or may not be aware, but perhaps you've read a little bit about it, but they have a proposal to import trash from other counties and other states outside of, obviously, Palm Beach County and Florida. We have followed this very closely since last August. They had their first public hearing, another one in October, and since then we've had multiple meetings with staff and other elected officials within the county. Their proposal is to import as much as 20,000 tons a month into our county, to include expired pharmaceuticals from the state of Georgia. We are not in favor of this at all. The original justification for this was they have a new incinerator coming online on May of 2015. We do not object to the technology in the incinerator. That is not the point. They also thought that they would generate enough revenue to the tune of approximately $45 million that would come into the county. And thirdly, they really thought that it was a way to help them extend the life of the landfill. Since then, throughout these multiple meetings, it has now been determined it is no longer required to import this trash to test the new facility. They can do so with the trash that comes into Palm Beach County already, and with the expected population growth, what they perceive to happen in the next several years, number one. Number two, they had fewer bidders than they thought were going to occur. They had 2 bidders. That estimated revenue per year is less than $18 million over 5 years. Works out to be less than $3 per savings per ratepayer per year. $3 per savings per ratepayer. They've also confirmed that they cannot guarantee that there wouldn't be any, despite the fact they don't import hazardous waste at this time, they do not guarantee that they'd be able to safely burn expired pharmaceuticals within our county. So from that perspective, we've had multiple organizations. I live in West Palm Beach. I feel like the adopted son here in Palm Beach Gardens because I know all of you very well, and our chief over there, very good. Our chief, I say our chief. But it is not something we wish to have happen from a brand point of view. Just a couple of other perspectives. On 45th Street and Haverhill in that area, I think you know West Palm Beach is in negotiations right now with the county to build a stadium. One of the truck routes would be 45th Street, also coming off the Turnpike, also coming off I-95. In the NCNC, we have an interesting process. We spend time educating our delegates on what the issues are in our communities, whether they're pro or con. We just give them the education on it. They have since gone back to their respective community boards and reported back, and 100% of those communities within Palm Beach Gardens oppose the importation of trash into our county. Those roads, those trucks will be utilized right through Palm Beach Gardens. What I'm asking you to do today is to consider having one of you come to the Solid Waste Authority board meeting, which is February the 11th, next Wednesday at 9 o'clock over at the SWA facility on Jog Road, and speak on the behalf of Palm Beach Gardens. The mayor of West Palm Beach, commissioners from West Palm Beach have all been there opposing this proposal. We've met with many of the county commissioners, obviously at a protocol. I won't tell you what they've shared with us per se, because you have to reach your own conclusions, but we'd ask you to oppose the importation of trash into Palm Beach County, and specifically going through Palm Beach Gardens as roadways. Thank you very much for the time.
Sal, thanks for the information. Thank you very much. February 11th. What time, I'm sorry? 9 o'clock.
My only problem is objecting to something that I know the government's going to do that we know very little about. I mean, if Palm Beach County, I would say that after Palm Beach County came and made a presentation, if that's what they want to do, then that'd be fine. But I don't really, we don't even know the issues associated with this. I mean, I understand that it should be looked at, Sal. I mean, I totally understand everything you said, but I just don't think it's right for us to take a position against the county government without really having a presentation on the whole issue. I know this has been discussed. We've seen it in the newspapers plenty of times, okay, and it's really been discussed. And I don't like when other governments come out against us when they don't understand our issue, and that's why I'm saying you could be 1,000% correct, but I think we should be giving Palm Beach County the opportunity. I don't have a problem with someone going down and saying that they should look at it and you're concerned about it, but I do have a problem with us being against it at this point.
They did do a presentation at the League of Cities, which I reported back on, and I do have some concerns because they don't have any burn efficiency numbers on the pharmaceuticals. So, from my viewpoint, especially with the residents of Steeplechase, if they're not burning these things at the EPA regulated, which is 99.99999% efficient, that's what you have to be a hazardous waste burner, but they don't have those numbers, and they can't tell us whether they're going to be, now they've said that most of it's going to be like Ospec, Tylenol, and Advil, and things like that, which is inherently dangerous, but I don't want to be breathing in any Advil.
See, and that, I'm okay with that. Well, if you'd like to go down, I'm 1,000% in favor of you going down and expressing that. That's and expressing the concern for our residents over those particular issues.
I agree.
Okay.
I don't have any problem with that. I just don't want to come out and say that we're...
I must have left the room. I just think I got elected.
Yeah.
Did you say $3 a year? Is that what you said?
$3. $3. And I think Sal makes a good point. Now, I've heard that there are only going to be 11 trucks coming through, but they're coming through our city. And one of the things, when you're transporting trash, I think bringing it to the closest location, there is a big advantage. A big advantage, not driving trash from Broward County up here when you're going right by the Pompano Beach landfill. That kind of bothers me. Trash should go to the closest available facility when at all possible. So,
may I add just one perspective?
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
And I'm sorry, I apologize, I'm beyond the 3 minutes, but there are landfills in all the respective counties that are outside of Palm Beach County and in these other states as well, with adequate capability to sustain their trash that they would project over, let's say, the foreseeable 10 to 20 years. If it's not good for them to burn it in their own counties, why are we importing it to our own county? It just didn't sit well with many of the residents in the communities that reported back. They didn't like the idea, not only from a health point of view, but also to just have their neighborhoods visited by trucks from wherever carrying this trash. So they did respond. It was not a question of unilaterally making a decision. We went out to the communities.
Mr. Mayor, real quick, Sal, what time was the meeting at?
It's 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock on the 11th.
At the
9 o'clock on the
SWA.
11th, okay. I have a meeting here at 9 o'clock. I'll just have to reschedule it.
Please do. I think we'd like to have you there.
And David, express our concerns, that we're very much concerned, and we might want to be opposed to this, but we want to understand all the facts associated with it. So then next meeting, you can come back and report to us, and if that's what we should be doing.
Can I suggest procedurally, because we've gone through this, this is a decision-making meeting. They're out to make a vote on this particular proposal at this next meeting. That's their intent. Now, why they have not come out to you all as a municipality when you are in their backyard, I don't know. That's up to them.
David, you should include that, saying that you want a presentation from them? You wish that we had a presentation?
That's right.
I can request that.
Right. I mean, that,
They're going to take a vote at that time, and it's not going to be time to do that. But we've all heard this. I've heard it. I've heard presentations myself. I have similar concerns as I think all of you do. And so, David, if I can make it, I may go with you.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm free that day, but if I can't, I know you'll do a great job.
Right. Yeah, they love it when I start talking about burn efficiency.
Yeah, I know.
Just absolutely love that.
You throw those scientific terms around.
You know we're sending the right guy. He knows that stuff.
Yes, we are. And I think we need to lead by example by reducing the carbon footprint, and $3 a year is not...
Well, not to mention all the fuel they're burning to bring...
A lot of diesel.
Yeah, a lot of diesel fuel up and down the Turnpike and I-95. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't.
I don't know why they want to bring it here. I mean, that's what I'm saying. If they got the capacity, why are you going to truck it all the way here? I know gas is down, but...
Has anyone ever seen a garbage truck going down 95 that didn't leak?
It didn't leak. It didn't have garbage coming out the back sometime.
All right, let's move on, please. Jack Weir? Jack here? Here's Jack. Yeah.
Actually, Jack Weir, 5604 PGA Boulevard. I'd actually like to reserve comment. I understand you're going to be discussing the subject Avenir later this meeting, so I'd like to reserve comment.
No, we don't have anything on our agenda for that tonight.
No. All right.
All right. Yeah.
All right. When you're evaluating this in the future, I just ask that you have a balanced perspective there. I know there's a lot of inherent opposition because of the size of what's been proposed. There are fairly significant environmental benefits associated with the plan that they are proposing to do there. And I don't purport to tell you what the right number of houses is, the right number of businesses, or anything like that. But I do think that ask the staff, as well as when it gets to you, to consider it carefully. I just think by default going to the existing plan of the 400 ranchettes out in the west there would be a mistake and a missed opportunity. Thank you.
Jack, can I just have your address for the record, please?
5604 PGA Boulevard.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Rosa Schechter? Rosa? The address?
Hi there. Thank you for calling me. My name is Rosa Schechter. I'm actually one of the owners and partners in the Avenir project, and I wanted to, first of all, thank Mr. Weir for his outlook. We're here for the day, and we wanted to come to the hearing and thank the staff for the work they've put into our project, and just let you know that we're here to work with you. And one of the things that we'd like to do is extend an invitation to all of you to come out to the site with us and take a look at it for yourselves and see what's out there. We'd like to give you a tour so we can show you how truly degraded it really is, how filled it is by invasive species, and how much we would like to use the site for the benefit of not just the city but also the state, to enhance and really realize the vision of the Everglades Restoration Plan. So we wanted to just come here, let you know we're here, let you know we're very proud to be in your city, and invite you to come with us.
Can I have your address for the record, Rosa?
Oh, I actually live in Coral Gables. It's 1139 Alfonso Avenue, Coral Gables.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ordinance 1, Ordinance 1, Ordinance 1. Okay. Let's move on to consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent.
Second. Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. Tonight we are holding quasi-judicial hearings on the following cases. Resolution 7, 2015, replace the existing City of Palm Beach Gardens Fire Station Number 2. Resolution 8, 2015, amend the Central Gardens PCD Master Plan. Resolution 9, 2015, assisted living facility within Parcel B of the Central Gardens PCD. This means that the City Council is required by law to base its decision on the evidence contained in the record of this proceeding, which consists of the testimony at the hearing, the materials which are in the official city file on this application, and any documents presented during the hearing. The Council is also required by law to allow cross-examination of any witnesses who testify tonight. Cross-examination may occur after the staff, the applicant, and other participants have made their presentations and will be permitted in the order of witnesses' appearance. It is necessary that anyone who testifies at the hearing remain until the conclusion of the hearing in order to be able to respond to any questions. If you plan to testify this evening or wish to offer written comments, please fill out a card and give it to the city clerk. The city clerk will now swear in all persons who intend to offer testimony this evening on any of these cases.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
First up is Ordinance 1, 2015. Will the clerk read the title?
Ordinance 1, 2015, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, amending Chapter 78 Land Development by repealing Section 78-290 Temporary Signs Allowed and readopting same as revised. In order to adopt regulations relating to human signs, further amending Chapter 78 at Section 78-751 definitions by adopting the definition of human signs, providing that each and every other section and subsection of Chapter 78 Land Development shall remain in full force and effect as previously adopted, providing a conflicts clause, a severability clause, and authority to codify, providing an effective date and for other purposes.
I'm going to open the public hearing and ask for a staff presentation.
Good evening, council members. My name is Tamash bin Rahman with the Planning and Zoning Department. I have been sworn in. Tonight I'm presenting Ordinance 1, 2005. This is a city-initiated text amendment to the sign code adopting reasonable time, place, and manner regulations related to human signage. To give you a little brief background, there has been a recent proliferation of human signs within the city. These signs distract drivers, impede pedestrian traffic, and poses a significant threat to the public health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of this city. Staff is recommending Section 78-151 temporary signs be amended to allow human signs as temporary signs in the city. They will require a permit. In terms of height, they can be up to 8 feet tall, and they can be up to 3 square feet per each sign face, and each sign may be permitted to have 2 sign faces. In terms of time period, a maximum of 6 times per calendar year and no more than 2 consecutive days each time. In terms of location, a sign may be located on the property that is being advertised or within 8 feet of the right-of-way immediately adjacent to the property. Staff is also recommending Section 78-751 definitions be amended to include a definition for human sign. With this, staff is recommending approval of Ordinance 1, 2015 on first reading. Thank you.
Any questions of staff?
Just a comment.
Okay, let's wait till the end. We have 3 comment cards. Irish Scheibel.
Irish Scheibel, 1029 Sienna Oak, Circle West. Good evening, Mayor, Council. I never thought I'd feel compelled to speak on behalf of sign spinners and costume sign wavers. Did staff get personally offended by the puppy-suited guy or the crab-suit guy? Reading the ordinance and the Post article about it, such highly charged words were used. Impacts quality of life, pose a significant threat to public health, safety, and welfare. Proliferation, although I think they said there were 5 signs seen at a time, blocking bicyclists and pedestrians. Yet no one has shown that these hardworking sign wavers, paid minimal wages and working for small businesses, have caused any accidents standing out there, sometimes in the extreme heat and sun. Personally, I found some of them entertaining, and most often, due to the city's signage requirements, I see them advertising places that I never would have expected to find in what seems to be hidden shopping centers. Case in point, near PGA Boulevard, I would never have known where Nutrition World moved to when it moved from where Trader Joe's is, if it weren't for the sign waiver. Carmine's Crab Shack is all but invisible, other than the little crab person. Some other businesses were listed in the Post. A threat to bicyclists and pedestrians? How many of those do you see along PGA and Military Trail in North Lake? Not only would the city require permits with significant fines for scofflaws, but someone decided that 2 consecutive days, 6 times a year is sufficient, or the right amount, 12 days out of 365. Did staff take the time to ask these small businesses how this would impact them or the people that they gave jobs to do this? Did the city negotiate with them? And staff certainly spent a lot of time with the very vocal gas station owners in working on the next ordinance, Ordinance 3. Perhaps these just aren't the right kind of businesses or the right kind of jobs in your vision of the gardens. So by passing these ordinance changes, you would be using the strong arm of government just because you can, not because it's a significant public threat. So please vote no to the changes as they're written. Thank you.
Thank you. Jamie Gonzalez. Hi, Jamie. Name and address for the record, please.
Hi there. I'm Jamie Gonzalez, 4802 Eugenia Drive, Palm Beach Gardens, Magnolia Bay community. And I don't have anything prepared. The woman who preceded me said it exactly how I wish I would have written it. So as a prospective, hopefully a future business owner here, I'm now researching putting a business on PGA Boulevard. When I heard about this and read about it, I thought that could really affect me as a business owner and limit my ability to attract customers because of the way, we have a beautiful city. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. But all the greenery and that beauty covers up a lot of these signs, and you can't see what's there. So as a consumer, from the consumer side, and I've spoken to friends, how do you feel about these sign people, moving around? Is it a distraction? And they say, I've found so many businesses that I didn't know were there. So I hope you do reconsider that. The city of Royal Palm Beach, where I've done some business, has a little more, I think they allow, I tried to look it up in their rules, but it didn't state clearly, every 2 weeks every quarter. So maybe some discussion with other businesses in the area and see what's more fair, because we want to have a ability for businesses to do well here and not have to move somewhere else, and also for consumers to find maybe someone closer to their house that they didn't know was there, where they could buy their goods and services. So I hope you will reconsider it, because I think it's a little too strict. Only 2 days a year, or 6 days, was it 6 days a year, or
12
6
days.
times a year?
6 consecutive
right, 2
days,
days,
right.
which I think that's very restrictive. And Royal Palm also has more rules about grand openings, more specific sales, promotions during holidays and things like that could be taken into consideration by you fine council members, okay?
Thanks, Jamie.
Thank
you for coming. Julie Poos? Name and address, Julie?
Sure, I'm Julie Post. My address is 424 North Lake Court, number 4, and it's North Palm Beach. I have a business called Heavenly Foot Massage, and I'm actually at 5510 PJ Boulevard, Suite 109. And probably the only reason you know I'm there is because we've had a dancing sign spinner. And we were blessed to open December 7th. And the one thing that, for me as a small business owner, I'm going to read it because I did write something down, so I'll read it real quick, is that I have a personal issue. We just opened, and I'm here tonight to bring the personal business dilemma, which is an 8-foot landscaping right in front of my business. And as you come from the west on PJ Boulevard, since we're on the south side, there's an 8-foot hedge, and there's an easement in there because there's like a utility box that's about 8 feet high. And so the hedge is blocking my business. And the blessing is that the sign spinner has brought in probably 40% of our business in the last 60 days. And so we were thrilled. We ask every person that comes in, we've had 600 clients, we're so blessed because of that, that have come through our door, and we've asked them, how'd you find out about us? And they said, oh, it's your dancing sign spinner, we saw him. I said, oh my gosh, and they go, we loved him, he was great. Now, I understand that could be a problem or an obstacle. I believe that there haven't been any accidents due to sign spinners, and that's the facts. I believe that's the case. I also believe that if there is a distraction because there's an increase in sign spinners, and that that's part of this process here, and that's raised this level of concern, that maybe you all could reconsider in a couple different ways. One is you give us a chance to petition the community, because I can tell you this, that we didn't even know, it was because of Tony Doris that did that Palm Beach Post article, that this was even going to happen. And I'm a small business owner. I used a huge amount of my savings to even put this into existence. And it really is an emotional issue for me, because this is very much a critical issue for me. So having said that, a lot of our clients that came through the door since the article, and some have actually come because of the article, they said,
Mayor,
look,
30 seconds.
They said, we don't want this to happen to you. But we also surveyed the clients that are coming through the door that come to us regularly now. And their sentiment is not take away the sign. Their sentiment is, why are they doing this? So I'd ask you to reconsider in this way. Give us a chance to petition the community. Number two, if you're going to prohibit it, get the sign spinners to stand in one location, not to move, be a statute, or be a certain distance from the road, because at that point, it's safe if you're going to address that issue, and you're going to give us a chance to still make money and survive as a business. Thank you.
Thanks, Julie, for coming. We appreciate it. Susan Cohen?
Good evening. My name is Susan Finger Cohen. I live at 50...
Excuse me, Mayor, she's not been sworn in.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's right. Go ahead, Susan, I'm sorry.
I live
Address,
at
please.
5083 Dulce Court.
Thank you.
And I'm here regarding the same issues as these last three speakers, and I also am not fully prepared, and I have so much to say I could not possibly say it in 3 minutes, but I'll try to.
Go ahead.
I've lived in the city for 25 years. I've had several businesses here. My most recent one is in Frenchman's Crossing at the corner of Hood Road and alternate A1A. We are Swirl self-serve frozen yogurt, and I brought with me today my fabulous employee, Joshua Kerr. He comes Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to stand at the corner of alternate A1A and Hood Road to, as you would say, to distract drivers that are driving, that have no idea that Frenchman's Crossing even exists. We were not allowed any signage anywhere on alternate A1A because the FEC owns the property there. Unless you're on Hood Road, east or west, which is not even considered a main road, people don't even know we're a shopping center. Publix was not even allowed to put a standard size sign as the other Publixes in the area. It was limited to a very small sign, and we have people now over 4 years now coming into our center saying, "Oh, did you just open?" You know, they don't even know we're there. They think we're an industrial park. You know, they just have no idea what we are there. And the only way to, I believe, just as the previous speaker said, the only way to let people know that we are there is to have some type of person standing outside helping us attract customers, because small businesses, you know, we're local people, we're just trying to survive out there, and I don't think that everyone realizes that. There's no one else in our area. Joshua's the only spinner for miles around there, and I mean, the money that he gets from us subsidized. He helps out his ailing father. He works 3 days a week, a couple hours a day, standing outside in all kinds of weather. And I mean, just what the income he's getting is really helping out in his family,
30 seconds.
with his circumstances. And I would just like to ask you, we pay for all our sign permits. You taxed us, license, permit. We pay for every sign on our window, sign on the back, fine this, fine that. And I just feel that it's time for Palm Beach Gardens to give back to the people that are trying to be in business in this area. That's what makes this town great. You know, you have to help the local people here. That's it.
Thank you,
I
Susan.
hope you'll think about this.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your comments. Mr. Kerr, I have a card from you as well, sir. Did you want to speak?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was just...
Okay. Thank you. I have no other cards.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure, come on up.
I just wanted to say, and I'm going to quote Frank Sarabino because I'm holding this up, and I firmly believe this, which is he did an article about this after it came out in the Palm Beach Post, and the last thing he said was, besides, most drivers are too busy texting to notice who's on the side of the road. So if you want to talk about distraction, that's what it is. And this, I'm sure you all read this article about the hot dog lady 20 years ago. They were trying to ban her because her rear end was showing, and so you can read the article, but the
Skin
texting
ordinance is a little bit
and the
different. We won't get into that one.
Right, the texting and the phones are more distraction than someone standing on the side of the road.
Commissioner Marcus knows all about that.
Thanks, Susan. Okay, I have no other cards, so I'm going to close the public hearing. Bring it back up for a discussion. Marcy, did you have some comments, or David?
Okay. David has comments as well, I think. I mean, it's a tough situation, and first I feel that the right-of-ways in general are for vehicle recovery and are very dangerous. It's a dangerous place to hang out. I wish that we had our PowerPoint presentation working, because we have several pictures, and I appreciate all of the comments that I heard today, but we have a great picture of, I think it was a crab, standing in the road, twirling a sign, not on the sidewalk, not in the grass, not adjacent to the facility, but in the actual road. And this was in our city. I know I passed the ones on Donald Ross, for Donald Ross Village, and it concerns me because they are not just on the sidewalk or not just at the corner, but they're in the road where people are traveling at 55 miles per hour, and I've witnessed it. However, these are areas for cars, and this is where accidents occur. No, I don't think, and I'm sure we can get stats on it, that we've had anyone hurt, but do we need to wait for someone to get hurt to pass regulations for safety purposes? I don't think that's right either, especially because a lot of them I've seen, what to me seems like kids, and I keep getting older, so everyone's seen all the kids keep getting older, but maybe they're not kids, maybe they're young adults, but that are in the right-of-ways. I know that the high school band was one of the sign waivers, and I don't want to hurt people that are trying to raise money for their high school, because I am a strong believer and a supporter in our schools, but we do have to have some regulations so that we can protect these students that are doing things like that, and the people that are doing, and maybe not intentionally, but in harm's way. Not saying that we are banning them. I don't think we should prohibit them. I think that we have a specific number out there, 8 feet. I'm very supportive of the 8-foot setback, because I think that is at least keeping them back a specific distance out of harm's way, out of the traffic, the vehicle lanes. And I know bicyclists. I have a friend that lives in Palm Beach Gardens and has seen many accidents, bicycle accidents, because of vehicles, and I'd hate for it to be a pedestrian. So I am 100% in support of small businesses, large businesses, businesses in general. I have talked to several property owners in regards to this, because it is a tough situation. I don't like making decisions in a box. So I spoke to several residents. I did my own little informal poll to find out what people say and what people are thinking about this, and what is the right number? I know that we have a glitch amendment specifically because certain regulations that are passed might sound good until they're in effect. You might need to modify them, and every year we go through a whole slew of, I guess what we call glitch amendments, to make sure that the numbers of certain regulations are adequate, and if we need to change them, we change them because it's not working. So I think that this is something that we need to consider. Is 6 is the number now, right? I don't, so 12.
12
sorry.
total, 6, 2 consecutive days.
I don't know if that's, the right number, but I do think that we're doing something for a safety purpose that is a good thing to keep people out of the right-of-way, and that's a good start, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you for the honesty. David?
Well, you have to go by your own observations. I've observed sign spinners that are basically, there's a picture of one right here in the bike lanes. By the way, I do use the bike lanes. I have a bicycle. I bike all over the city. With my dog, as a matter of fact, yes, I bike all over. So I saw one that was in the median of Military Trail, standing in the middle where the sign was actually wider than the median was. Which I would definitely consider to be a dangerous situation. So a lot of these regulations, time I don't know about the amount of days, but I am fully 100% in favor of getting the sign spinners away from the road. I think that these regulations with the setbacks and with the maximum height are good. And I think one of the speakers actually said the purpose of the sign spinner is to distract the driver. Whether they're distracted by texting or on the phone or other things, that's yet another additional distraction. So I'm negotiable on the amount of days that they can spin the signs, but not with the safety regulations that remove them from the right-of-way of the road.
I have a question.
Yes.
If I might
Sure.
ask. we still have in our code, in our chapter in regards to specific regulations relating to grand openings, that's a whole separate special event. So you could still have a grand opening sign, you could still have your banners, you could still have all of those separately permitted. We're just asking for you to permit the sign, the human sign versus the grand opening sign versus the, and then freedom of speech signs are totally different. That's a whole other case, a whole other subject and line item in our code as well.
Yes.
Correct?
Okay. Joe, any comments?
I guess sometimes I feel like I'm old and like, whatever happened to media advertising and newspaper advertising? They got that Florida Weekly that comes out. Does anybody ever thought about advertising in that? We get the coupons in the mail all the time where you got all those things. I look at them. We get that Gardens magazine that comes, that Gardens coupon thing that comes out. There must be 20 of them. But I look at them, and if I'm looking for something, you look online and I understand, okay, basically where they're coming from. There's other areas to advertise, and I guess I'm fully in support of the ordinance. The days I'm open to, and like you said, the grand opening, that should be new so people get, that know about it and so forth. But, the other thing that the foot massage lady said about all the people that came in, okay, and all the people that found out about it. Well, now word is going to start spreading word of mouth. I understand in the beginning that people don't know about it and it's difficult. But once they know, and once you have people, other people start coming in. So, as far as I'm concerned, this is an ordinance that needs to be done, and I've had plenty of residents telling me that they were in support of doing this because they don't like all those spinners things and so forth. But I understand there's a purpose, and I understand we have to help small business, but we need to do something, and I'm like you, I guess, negotiable on like everybody else, negotiable on the dates and the times and so forth, but I think this needs to be done because, as we all know, it's getting more and more. And like Marcy said, I don't want to do something after some poor child dies. I want to do it now. I mean, that's that you got to be proactive and not reactive. So.
Excuse me.
No. Hold on, ma'am. We're all done. Discussion's closed. We're going to have our discussion up here. Okay. Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, Joe. The world has changed. It really has. You have all the electronic media. You have Facebook. You have Twitter. You have all these other platforms that people advertise on. People advertise themselves. They tell all kinds of information about themselves that I don't want to know, but they do it anyway. And listen, I had a business for many years up in Jupiter. I owned a restaurant, and signage was important to me. It really was. I had a monument sign out in front of the shopping center I was in. I petitioned the town of Jupiter for a second one. They wouldn't give it to me. I lived with it, and I built a reputation over a period of time, and people came, and I don't think it mattered whether I had a sign spinner out there or not. If I had a good business, the word of mouth got around, and it worked. And honestly, as I said, the world has changed. These sign spinners are now everywhere, all over the country. It's a phenomenon. But if we don't regulate them in some way, it's just going to get completely out of control. And that's the problem, out of control. It's people who abuse things that make people like us need to regulate situations like this. And this is where we find ourselves. I'm very sympathetic towards a small business owner because I was one for many years, and I know it's not easy to make it out there in the world. It's not, and so, but we need to do something. We can't just sit back and let this continue because it will. It's gotten out of hand. It's going to get worse because if we sit back and do nothing, that means that void is going to be filled with more sign spinners and more people who are going to be abusing the system and going out into the right-of-way. We need to have some regulations. I will agree with my colleagues here that maybe we can tweak the amount of time, the amount of events, maybe between now and first reading and second reading. Staff can do something to reach out to some of these business owners that are here now and see if she and her staff can work something out that's a little bit more flexible. But I will tell you that I think from what I've heard up here and what I've heard from the residents, it has to be controlled. It has to be controlled in some way, shape, or form. And this is the first step. So let's bring it back on second reading and see what we get. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we're all kind of in agreement with regards to height, size, and setback. I think we're not in agreement maybe with the time frame. So Jamie had an idea about 2 weeks a quarter. I mean, maybe there's some amount of days we can implement per quarter and get away from the more restrictive numbers that we have in our plan here now. So I think we should go ahead and approve it tonight on first reading, and then we need to have discussions before second reading and come up with some alternatives as far as time.
Maybe we can have staff meet with the people that are here tonight, and some of the others, and some of the business people, and so forth. But the people that are here tonight, you have to understand that we're going to do something. We want to work with you, but understand we're going to do it. So we'd like to do it with you, okay, and come up with something, but understand it's not going to be every day, okay, and it's going to be, we're at 2 days, what are we, 12 days a year, and you're probably at 365 days a year. So we need to come up with somewhere. Also time. I mean, this is really something new. I mean, so we don't know it. I don't know what times are better, whether there are times that are more unsafe and unsafe. I mean, I don't know what other cities are doing, but this really needs to be addressed. And this is something that, and if you want to meet, I mean, I think that there needs to be a meeting with staff, okay, so at least they can come back and say if there was anything that could be worked. They might come back and say they can't be worked out, and that's okay, but that's going to be their issue. Natalie, you meet with them, but they understand that, that here's where we're at, and we need to come up with something. And if the intent is you're going to come in and say we want 360, don't even bother, because then we're not going to get anywhere. Let us hear, okay, what you could live with, what you think is good, and let's see if we can somehow work it out. That's the best way to do it.
Here.
We have all the names that spoke. We have their contact information, and we will reach out to them for second reading.
And you should also bring somebody in from the chamber, include the chamber, maybe the PGA Corridor.
I think the PGA Corridor Association would probably be interested to participate too.
Bring them all in and see what you can come in with. So let's pass this on first reading, but let's not bring it back for second reading until we get something.
I agree. I think there's a more time frame that we can kind of maybe cooperate and put out there, but like you said, 365 10 hours a day is not going to work. It's not going to work.
24/7.
Well, it's not 24/7, but,
I think there is part of it that says that they cannot be illuminated, which I also agree with.
Oh, yeah.
For night, yeah.
Yeah, for nighttime, I would.
I don't know of any night spinners, though, do you?
I haven't seen any, but you know what?
Not yet, but
Not yet.
You know what? They can do some amazing things with LEDs.
Yeah, and that's the problem, because it's coming. This is something new, something different, and the longer we unregulate it, the more it's going to proliferate. So we need to do something, and I fully support what we talked about up here.
Okay.
So work with us, okay? Thank you.
Motion to pass ordinance 1, 2015 on first reading.
Second.
Got a motion, 2 seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Next up, ordinance 3, 2015. Will the clerk read the title?
Ordinance 3, 2015, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, amending Chapter 78 Land Development at Section 78-285 Permitted Signs, Table 24 Permitted Signs by amending gasoline price sign and ground sign types in order to add additional requirements related to gasoline price signage, providing that each and every other section and subsection of Chapter 78 Land Development shall remain in full force and effect as previously adopted, providing a conflicts clause, a severability clause, and authority to codify, providing an effective date and for other purposes.
I'm going to open the public hearing and ask for a staff presentation. Update, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Natalie Crowley. I have been sworn in, Director of Planning and Zoning. This item was presented to you back in July of last year, and at that time we had some visuals, and I apologize that we're not able to show you those visuals. But what had happened back in April of 2014 was that the Palm Beach County Board of County Commissioners passed the Palm Beach Motor Vehicle Fuel Pricing Posting Ordinance, and in doing that, they passed a consumer protection ordinance But the details of that ordinance had some requirements which staff believed could add some sign confusion on some of the gas prices, and most importantly, many of the signs that exist within Palm Beach Gardens wouldn't be able to fit all the content because the requirements of the Palm Beach County's ordinance required that each type of sign be displayed, and then on top of that, the cash price also would have to be displayed. So if you can imagine all the different various types of fuel plus the cash prices, most of the gas station signs that would be that exist would have to have a very large copy face area, and many of the garden signs don't have that copy face area. For any members of the public who are interested in seeing those visuals, I do have some extra copies, and I'm more than happy to leave them at the front of the table to show you this, because the PowerPoint did have some of those visuals. So what we're proposing is in the same intent of what that ordinance is. It's still protecting the consumer in that it will require those prices to show a differential in price, but the ordinance that we are passing, or we would like to propose in front of you, and that the concept is the very same that was presented in front of you back in July, was that the signs would be prominently displayed with the words of credit add, and whatever price differential would be then prominently displayed per gallon. There is a very specific language in the ordinance that we're proposing, that it be prominently displayed, that it be a minimum of 6 inches, that it be continuously displayed so it can't flash on and off, and that the prices that are displayed also have to show very clearly, if they choose to, show cash. So in doing that, it reduces each type to be displayed, and it reduces the amount of sign content on each sign. We did work together with the solution with the local gas station owners, and they are willing to commit to this. It is our understanding that possibly sometime in the future, the state could make a ruling to preempt the entire potential regulation of the cash display, but we believe that this is the best thing for the city because it opts us out of the county's ordinance, and we're left with a standard that our signs can meet, and that the gas station owners are willing to do. So with that, I apologize again that I don't have the visuals, because those visuals do show the concept of what we're showing. But again, it's very simply credit add the price differential per gallon, at a minimum of 6-inch letters. We are allowing the monument base. As you all know, the Gardens has a standard where we have a 3-foot base. We are allowing the 3-foot base to be utilized if necessary. And I don't think I have anything else to add as part of my presentation.
All right.
With that, as staff, the concept that we are including as part of this ordinance is the same concept that was presented before you in July. And so we are doing this, and we would like to pass this before April, because April is the time frame in which the county's ordinance will actually come into effect. It was adopted with a grace period of a year. And the other thing that I'd also like to mention is that when we adopt it, if it is adopted, there will be 180 days before the ordinance takes effect. And so there still would be a little bit of time before the gas stations would have to comply. They will have a time period in which they can go and get their signs manufactured.
Okay, great. Any questions of staff?
A quick one. Have you talked to anybody over at County Planning and Zoning? Because this is a great solution to this problem. And I would think that the county might want to change.
It is.
The county may want to change their ordinance to comply with ours. Maybe they should preempt us or something.
That's nice thinking.
Yeah, honestly, I think we should send them a letter saying that this is a more elegant solution to the problem.
It's a little late down the road. I think the county's already moving forward, right, with the April date, so.
The county already adopted their ordinance with a specific date for effect. They can always change it, but because the time frame is coming so close to April, I would imagine that many gas station owners have already started the process in purchasing the materials necessary to meet the county standards.
Yeah, but many of the gas station owners in our city also own gas stations in the county. So, you would think they would then go forward and, That'll all be worked out.
Actually, I had mentioned this to a gas station owner that's not in our city, that is in the county, and I provided them some information as to what we were doing, and he wants to take it to the county to ask them if they would consider something similar. So maybe that's something that would help, because I agree that this...
I'm going to bring it up at the next League of Cities.
absolutely.
Yeah,
I
that's
feel
what I
brought up
was
before,
going
but
to
this is,
Right.
this makes so much sense, and what the county's doing doesn't make much sense.
If you think we should... this graphic of the county's regulation in perspective, they have every single regular and special and super and whatever, unleaded, every single, and then they have the cash and the credit price. So when you're driving by at 50 miles an hour, it's just a bunch of numbers. You can't even make sense of it all.
If we weren't
It's just
sending David
awful.
down to the solid waste, we could have sent him down to the county. Can't send him down to the commission.
Can we
man.
share this ordinance with all the other cities? They do that
I
sometimes.
will I'll bring it up at the League of Cities. As a matter of fact, what I think I'll do is...
Good idea.
I'll write Richard Radcliffe an email and,
We have the PowerPoint.
we have the PowerPoint. We have the power.
Let's get updated pictures, because your gas price in here is $3.77.
I know, they're very
So I think things have changed in the last couple of months.
Yes, it's amazing about the prices, how much they've
Yeah,
changed
isn't that
since we
amazing?
started talking
4 or
about
5
this
months.
concept. Yeah.
But that's how long some of these things take to work out, so we're, that's what we try to do. We try to work some agreement.
Fortunately, it's going to be back up to 377 within the next couple of years.
And Joe, wasn't this your recommendation?
It was David.
Was it David's?
It was yours?
No, it was Joe's. The language, yeah.
So was mine on the cash. That's what I said. Can't you?
There you go.
I actually have a slide that I use in one of my lectures where the gas prices are arm, leg, firstborn.
Well, that was...
That was the old days.
That was the old days.
See, sometimes the old thinking works.
Because
Sometimes it
did
does.
a
Okay, let's move on. Any other questions for staff?
No.
Thank you. Anybody wishing to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and bring it back up for discussion or a vote.
Move Ordinance 3, 2015 on first reading.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes 5-0. Next up, Resolution 2, 2015. Will the clerk read the title?
Resolution 2, 2015, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, approving a miscellaneous petition for the Nativity Lutheran Church and School located at the northwest corner of Holly Drive and Plant Drive, as more particularly described herein, to approve a 2-year time extension for 2 existing temporary modular structures, providing conditions of approval, providing an effective date, and for other purposes.
I'm going to open the public hearing and have a petitioner presentation, please. Pastor, good to see you again.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for the time to present this and to hear it on behalf of the congregation. My name is Clayton Bailey, the pastor of Nativity Lutheran Church and School. It's located on Holly Drive, right behind the high school, right before the I-95. I myself, along with several congregational members, our school director, are here to seek an extension for the time frame of our modular classrooms. The PowerPoint slide that you had that we would have been able to see, but I can do old school, which is good. Under the leadership of our former pastor, Mark Ludio, Nativity began to formulate a mission and vision plan during about 2007, and much of that plan began to expand the school and our early elementary education. While it wasn't feasible to break ground immediately, initial steps were taken at that time to begin updating our master plan, and city approval was sought at that time and granted for Nativity to bring 2 modular classrooms on site, which came in late 2007. Initially for us as a congregation, our enrollment went very well for our early elementary education, but as you well know, we met the economic downturn. The following years affected all of us in negative ways, and as a congregation, it did the same for us as well. Our enrollment began to stall, quickly declined, to the point that we discontinued offering early elementary education in 2009. That same year, the pastor at the time resigned from the congregation, and in the absence of pastoral leadership, the mission and vision for our future was put on hold. I came to the congregation 3 years later in late 2011. There were still many challenges for the congregation at that time as the economic recovery was just beginning. In the past 4 years that I've been there, we've been working hard in increasing enrollment, stabilizing our own worship attendance, and balancing our budget. And I'm very pleased to share that Nativity in the last 50 years is back on track for a positive future and celebrating the ministry we share here in this community. But little did I know in the midst of that we were, while we were making great strides, that our permit for keeping the portables in place had expired. So for that, my apologies. The information was passed on to me mid-late September of last year as the city offices called to call this to our attention. But since that time, I've been working with Planning and Zoning with other members of the staff to find an agreeable solution to allow the congregation enough time to move forward and to plan for the future. And in that, we're asking for a 2-year extension to leave the portables in place where they currently are. As you begin to consider this, as you look through the slides that would have been before you, to note that they're very well landscaped. They have a wonderful lush landscape around them. They have a good architectural steel frame that is around them, very artistic. It gives them a much more permanent look to the portable classrooms that are there compared to other modular units that you might find around the area. So they're very complementary into the space that we have them. Also, as you consider this extension, you should know that our portables are used nearly every day, primarily for our 4- and 5-year-old students, which are in the state-funded VBK program or a pre-kindergarten program. In the pictures that are there, you can see many of our youth that are enjoying their time with snacks and other table activities. We currently have 40 students enrolled in our class, almost half of which are in our portable classrooms. And enrollment, of course, fluctuates from year to year. We could have up to 45 students just in those classrooms alone. But along with our preschool activities, our modular units are used to support several other local organizations as well. We are host to many interns from Dwyer High School and their academic or Academy for Early Learning. We have a dozen students that are with us throughout the week that are hands-on with our young children. They're also home in the evenings for our Boy Scouts, for our Girl Scouts, and for multiple 12-step organizations. So as you consider this petition this evening with the wide range of activities that take place within our modular units, I'm confident that if our petition is approved, Nativity will continue to serve the community of Palm Beach Gardens as we strive to offer excellence in worship, education, and care. And again, I thank you for your time and for considering our extension this evening.
Do you have any questions for the pastor? Nicely done, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I always do this, and Pastor, I want to thank you for all that you do in our community. And I've always said that I'm proud of the houses of worship we have in our city. You know, everybody talks about our golf courses, but what the houses of worship do in our community, we can't do in government, and we thank you for that because you help making our community the way it is. So I just want to thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a staff presentation at all, or?
Staff is in agreement with the 2-year extension request.
Okay. Do we have any questions of staff on their comments, presentation? Okay.
Quick comment. You know, I ride by this pretty much every day, and they do a wonderful job of maintaining it. You wouldn't even know that they were modular units unless you actually knew that. Actually, they just complimenting you on your landscaping and your maintenance of these units. They look at, as I remember, we went to a ribbon cutting there, I think, when they were first put in. And I believe they look
were there, yes.
Pretty much exactly the same. So you've done a great job of maintaining them. And
I hope the trees have grown a little bit, right?
Trees have grown.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
That's good, though.
That's
we
good.
love trees. That's good. So it does look very nice, so.
Okay. Any questions of the pastor or staff?
Pastor, the Alzheimer's Community Care still in your facility?
It's still in our facility, and that would be one detriment if we lose the portables at this time. It would have to be a choice of either one or. We have 25 patients on site right now for our Alzheimer's Community Care, and another great community resource, another great ministry, and we'd love to continue both.
Okay.
Well, thanks for doing that, too.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody wishing to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, we're going to close the public hearing and bring it back up for a discussion or a vote.
Chairman, move it.
Second.
I got a motion and second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Passes 5-0. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate it. Next up is Resolution 7, 2015. Will the clerk read the title?
Resolution 7, 2015, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, approving a site plan and major conditional use to replace the existing fire rescue station number 2, as more particularly described herein, providing conditions of approval, providing an effective date, and for other purposes.
Going to open the public hearing and ask for any ex partes. On the fire station? Yeah, we spoke to our staff.
Yeah, well, it is quasi-judicial.
Yeah, it's quasi, yeah. David?
I spoke to the applicant, too.
We all met with staff.
We all met with staff.
Which is the applicant.
Which is the applicant, yeah.
That is true. Thank you.
And I actually appreciate the fact that staff actually filled out all the paperwork that all the applicants typically do. I saw.
Okay, can we move on to staff presentation? Okay. The applicant?
Petitioner's present.
Yes, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. Peter Hoffine, City of Palm Beach Gardens Planning and Zoning Department. I have been sworn in. Excited tonight to present to you a city-initiated capital improvements project to replace the existing fire rescue station number 2, located on the northwest corner of Campus Drive and RCA Boulevard. Again, I apologize for not having the presentation up on the screens this evening, but if you can follow me with the packet. The request tonight is for a site plan approval and major conditional use approval. Being just a site plan approval, we are not asking for any waivers this evening. We meet all of the development standards, setbacks, height, lot coverage. We exceed the required amount of open space and landscaping points. If you turn to the site plan, you'll get an idea of the layout of the site. The new fire station will be constructed just to the north of the existing station. Once the new station is fully operational, the existing station will be demolished. The area will be sodded and landscaped and provide a small amount of detention for on-site stormwater. The new station's about 9,735 square feet, slightly bigger than the existing station today. This station features a slightly larger apparatus bay with 3 bays as opposed to 2. It's also a 1-story station. The current facility today is our only 2-story fire station. We paid particular attention to the landscaping on the site, specifically along Campus Drive. We are providing an abundant amount of rolled shoulder landscaping, which includes clusters of sable palms, mid-level crepe myrtles and ligustrums, and a variety of ground cover and shrub material. Once the existing station is demolished, we will then provide landscaping on the southern portion of the site, again using clusters of crepe myrtles and ligustrums. We will also be maintaining and preserving a large quantity of existing slash pines and live oaks, in addition to a 0.17 acre upland preserve in the northwest corner of the site. In terms of architecture, the overall architectural design of the station is a contemporary modern design, which we chose to kind of mimic the existing architecture of the institutional uses around the area. The Palm Beach State College, the Easley Theater, and the State College's daycare to the west of the site all have a modern contemporary theme. The colors of the building match those here of the recently painted City Hall, with the light beige, the darker beige, and the accent sage green. We are using modern building materials, standing seamless metal roof, metal louvers, in conjunction with the angular roof, provide a nice design for the station. With me tonight, I have Fire Chief Michael Southern and City Engineer Todd Engel. If you guys have any questions in regards to the interior of the facility or the design-build contract and construction schedule, with that, staff is recommending approval of Resolution 7, 2015.
Does anybody want to beat up staff?
No, but I will say that, as you know, in my agenda review, I didn't get the complete presentation because I wanted to look forward to seeing it tonight.
Right.
And now I'm looking at this. I could have saw the video yesterday.
So I had to show him the before and the after together so he could actually see.
I mean, so
going to the 3.
when we go through the agenda reviews, I like to leave a few things that, because again, the public knows we go through all of this before we come here individually, not together, of course. And I like to leave certain things, for later, and unfortunately this, but the pictures are great, and this is great. You guys did a great job with this.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just get it on the record, really. There's going to be 2 500-gallon fuel storage tanks here on the property. Where are they located, and are they screened?
Those are located on the entrance, on the northern entrance into the bays, and yes, they are screened. We looked at all the exterior mechanical equipment just as we would a privately initiated application with the viewing angles. There's an abundant amount of landscaping that screens all of the exterior equipment.
Nice job. And it's going to meet fire code, right?
Yes.
Much better than the original building did. It's actually going to meet ADA requirements too, which is a first for this building, so that's a good thing.
Marcia, any comments?
The only comment that I have, and it's if you look at the before and the after, or the before and the proposed, it's like night and day. So it's definitely going to be a plus, and I think all the residents that live by this are going to be very happy. A comment that I'm just going to say, which I said in our staff meeting, which it's just near and dear to my heart, which is the vegetation and the preservation of Palm Beach Gardens, which is what makes Palm Beach Gardens Palm Beach Gardens. As you know, slash pines are very temperamental, so when we put, and I did review the landscape plan in detail, and when we put ornamental plants under the drip line of the slash pines, when we're going through the heal-in period, I just want to make note and make sure that we're very cognizant of the fact that we need to put temporary irrigation in, and for the irrigation zones that are underneath the slash pines, if they can be put on a separate zone so that they can be shut off so that the pines don't die, because all the rest of the material will need a lot more irrigation than the native species that are going to be put underneath the slash pines. And there are ornamentals near the pines, so I want to make sure that we don't hurt the existing native species when we go through this process.
Absolutely. I spoke with the city forester and city engineer about that, and when we install the ornamentals in the irrigation on the south part, we'll keep that in mind.
Good. And then also make sure that when the landscape contractor that's putting in the landscape doesn't do any type of switches or substitutions, that they put like-kind material, native for native, and the like, so that we make sure that we take care of this.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
She's going to be out there planting the trees, so just call her when you get them delivered. Let her help put them in. Just a couple quick comments. I'm glad to see this is a single-story building. We don't need guys falling down the steps or something in the middle of the night. Or riding down a pole. I know. The station's 27 years old, and I know this has been a couple-year process to get this going, but I'm glad to see it's going to get done. We'll have no downtime in service. Okay. And I think from a resident standpoint, it's important to remember we kind of saw this vision a couple years ago that this was going to have to be done, so we actually went out and got a loan at sub 2% for 10 years to do this property. So again, thanks to staff for that recommendation and being proactive and not waiting till today to come back when rates are maybe double. So it's a great savings to our residents, and now it's a great benefit to our residents on the other end when this is done. So Chief, please keep us in the loop on the process and let us know if anything else as it goes forward. So thank you, we appreciate it.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I know Ron would like to point out, if he was here, this is a great example of teamwork, and we could get the team to come forward. Chief Michael Southern, Deputy Chief Dave Dorita, Project Director Todd Ingles, City Engineer, Kamra, the wizard of the bid process. This was a design build. They spent a great deal of effort on this.
Hey, let's get the
Pete's our planner. Come on up.
Where's our finance guy? Come on, buddy. Come on. I just gave you some kudos, come on.
Natalie played the role of the representative, making sure they met all the regulations. And it's obvious you did a great job because it's a gorgeous project. But the team, great teamwork, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
I'll place a copy of the presentation at the table if any members of the public would like to see it.
Great, thank you very much. Anybody wishing to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing, bring it back up for a discussion or a vote.
Move Resolution 7, 2015.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. Next up is Resolution 8, 2015. Will the clerk read the title?
Resolution 8, 2015, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, approving an amendment to the Planned Community Development PCD Master Plan for the Central Gardens PCD located on the southwest corner of the intersection of Hood Road and Central Boulevard, as more particularly described herein, providing minor adjustments to the preserve, the design guidelines, and the PCD landscape buffers, and convert 57,500 square feet of retail space and 40,784 square feet of general office to accommodate a 140-bed assisted living facility within Parcel B of the Central Gardens PCD, providing conditions of approval, providing an effective date, and for other purposes.
All right, I'm going to open the public hearing and ask for any ex partes.
Yes. Ex parte, I met with Ken Tuma in regards to the landscape of this project.
None.
I did meet with Tom Dwyer and Roseanne McAdam, who are in the audience tonight from Silverstone Healthcare Company. Thank you. And I also met with Ken Tuma and staff on the project. Before we start, I just want to note that there will be a combined presentation of Resolution 8, 2015, along with Resolution 9, 2015. However, the titles, opening of the public hearings, ex parte, public comment, and the vote will be taken separately on each. So now we will have the petitioner presentation.
Well, good evening, Ken Tuma with Urban Design Kildare Studios. My address is 610 Clematis Street, West Palm Beach, Florida. Happy to be here tonight. I was looking for my IBM Selectric. Oh, yes, and I was sworn in. Yes,
Thank you very
sir. And I was looking for my IBM Selectric and my markers when I graduated college, and we're going to get to do it the old-fashioned way tonight.
Welcome back to the 80s.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was already listening for The Cure tonight. I mean, I was really ready for everything.
Ken, did you do that for videographs?
Ken, when you're making the presentation, we've all seen it. You know, we have our staff meetings and stuff. So maybe when you're showing things, you can show them towards the audience, because they haven't seen it. So.
Thank you, and I will do that. It's going to be a very verbal presentation. We have a PowerPoint that we handed out, but I'm not going to go by that. I mean, I'll go by it, but I'll just go quicker from that.
Okay.
So the site is located at the southwest corner of Hood Road and Central Boulevard. There are 3 parcels as part of that approval. It was the Central Gardens PCD. The first part of that PCD was constructed. That's the 224 apartment buildings or apartments that are located on that site. And this is the parcel, the next parcel to the south is the site that we're talking about. It actually accesses off the same entrance road of where it is today. So just to give you kind of a frame of reference for the folks in the audience, Central Boulevard is right here. Ooh, hang on a second, baby. Central Boulevard is right here. And this is the site that we're talking about. It's 7.72 acres, and the request that's before you tonight is to convert 57,000 square feet of retail and 40,000 square feet of office into an assisted living facility. That assisted living facility would consist of 140 beds. The request is a major conditional use and a site plan on top of a modification to the PCD. So that middle site, again, is 7.72 acres. The PCD changes to the master plan that we're requesting to allow this to happen are small, but there are several changes. The first change is Florida Power and Light had requested an additional 10 feet of utility easements. So we're granting an additional 10 feet of utility easement. So what we need to do is relocate some preserve to allow that to happen. The second change was we've added additional landscaping to the buffer along the frontage. The third change, Seacoast Utilities, as part of the original approval, required a well field, and we've located that on the master plan, and it's in the northeast corner, close to northwest corner, close to I-95. We also modified the design guidelines. When the design guidelines were written for this particular project, the intent was to make sure that the retail, that we didn't get a large format retail on this site. Well, since we're requesting a assisted living facility, the square footage is a little bit bigger. That original cap was one building could be no greater than 40,000 square feet. Well, we're asking that it goes to 55,000 square feet. Of course, there's not going to be a big box store or a retail. This is going to be assisted living and a very compatible use in the neighborhood. So one of the big things whenever we go through these projects, we look at traffic and traffic concurrency and capacity. By eliminating the retail and the office component, you're reducing the amount of traffic from this project as a whole by 54%, and I believe it's greater than 3,000 trips. So it is a significant reduction on traffic. I heard a little bit about traffic tonight on Central Boulevard. Well, this will take some trips off of Central Boulevard by doing this change. So the proposal, the actual proposal moving into the site plan is a 140-bed assisted living facility. The 140-bed assisted living facility is about 114,000 square feet. It's a mix of 2- and 3-story facilities, but we're keeping the 3-story part, of course, away from Westwood. So we're living and being consistent with the design guidelines. The site plan provides for 44% open space. It has a path all the way around the lake to be a part of a fitness trail. There's a fountain, and the fountain is intended to be a terminus to the entrance road and to create a really good viewport. There's a dog park for the residents. There's a butterfly garden. The folks who are going to live in this assisted living facility like the idea, or the folks who are running this like the idea of creating a natural preserve area to allow for butterflies and other ways to enjoy nature. The landscape is significantly above code. In the rough numbers, it's about 11,000. Points are required. We're at 19,000. And then parking, we are requesting additional parking. The code parking for this particular request would be 35 parking spots. Our client is doing a high-end assisted living facility. These are for-rent assisted living facilities by month, and they have a significant staffing component. So we're requesting 75 parking spots, which is above the requirement, so we're going to be requesting a waiver for that. So the architecture, which we have, is here on one of these boards.
Yeah, but Ken, it's below the parking for the retail in the office.
Well, way below the parking for the retail. Thank you, Councilmember Russo. Here is the architecture for visual for you all here, and then for everybody out in the audience. It's a 2- and 3-story product. You'll notice that there's a porte cochere. Oops. There's a porte cochere over here, and there's a 3-story element and a 2-story element. So it fits in real nice with the community. So the request tonight, I have 2 requests for waivers. The first request is a waiver to allow for landscaping and a trail within the lake maintenance easement. Staff has done a good job, and of course, we're consistent, and we have plenty of room to allow for access to that lake. The second request, waiver request, is for additional parking, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have tonight, and I can spend some more time looking at or going over the visuals if you'd like. Thank you.
We have any questions of the petitioner?
No, I mean, this is a win-win for us. I mean, this is to put more retail in an area that I don't think, you just had a lady from Frenchman's Corner, whatever they call Frenchman's Corner, said nobody knows it's there. This would have been another tough site to have commercial and so forth. It's just, this is a win-win. This is I think it's going to be a need that we're going to have. It's a great use of the property, far better than the retail and the office combination. So I think this is really, it's probably one of the best things you've ever brought us. So.
Well, thank you, Councilmember. I'll remember that going forward.
Joe's really getting out of the comments.
You have 13 months, right?
Let me ask you, I have 13 months left.
It's never been this nice. I don't know what's going on. What's going on?
The bottom line is, what's the reduction in traffic?
It's 54%.
When did you ever bring us anything that had a 54% reduction in traffic?
Yes, of course. 25 years. No.
And he's been here 25 years, so that works out perfect. All right, any other questions?
Quick question. I-95 abuts the property, correct?
Yes,
is there a
sir.
sound wall in that area?
There is not a sound wall in that area.
Can we get the, petition the DOT to put up a sound wall there since it will be residential? It's a residential
You
facility.
really won't need it because I'll have impact glass. Right?
There is one more portion, which I believe that Councilmember Levy is, there's a third part of this.
Another development side.
There's 3 parts of this. There's a center part, which was assisted living. As you get close to I-95 and tucked up in that corner, there is a residential component left that has not.
Yeah, but
come
I'm saying
forward.
for this facility, I think you're fine with the impact glass. But David, that should be done anyway when they do it. That's something that you're going to get because you're going to be the only one here, so you're going to get that when they put that in.
Well, I assume the fountains will provide some white noise,
Yes,
too.
sir. That was its intent, and there will be impact glass. I just confirmed with the architect.
Okay, very good.
I think you might have an issue with the DOT wall because we've had issues with Steeplechase or Horseshoe Acres, Horseshoe Acres or Old Palm requesting walls, but there's just not enough volume along those roads for DOT to build $1 million or $2 million wall facility for 10 homes.
Yeah, there's certain requirements to have to have.
So that's probably.
David's going to get it.
All right,
He'll
David.
be here.
You go to that meeting too when that comes up, so keep us abreast on that one. Any other questions? Okay.
Questions, I just have a couple.
Okay, we'll wait till the end on that one. Do we need a staff presentation? Thanks, Ken.
We are more than happy, staff is more than happy to make a verbal presentation, but all of the items that staff would mention at this point are reiterated, would be duplicative of what the applicant has mentioned. Staff is in support of both petitions, which is the PCD amendment and the proposed site plan. Staff recommends approval of both resolutions.
Have you been sworn in to make those comments?
Yes,
Okay,
I have been
thank you.
sworn in.
All right, thank you. Well, I'm just reading what Max tells me. Anybody wishing to speak for or against this item?
It's not against this item. The situation is we are
Come on up to the mic.
You'll need
Come on
to
up.
speak in the mic, please.
Going to have to come up and
Yeah.
enter card and be sworn in.
My name is Elsa Berna.
Ma'am,
Wait till you get to the mic.
You get to the mic.
Okay.
My name is Elsa Berna.
Hold on, we have to swear you in now.
Could you
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, Elsa Berna, 5190 Goodruff Lane. I live in Westwood Lake Communities, and
Okay.
we'd like to know, the community would like to know, how is this proposal? Because this is going to be a lot of traffic. This is a residential area. All of this is commercial. So how is all this division? And apparently look like it's a go over here. And this was zoning as what? Residential, commercial? What is this? It's 140 bed is a lot. 75 parking space is not enough. I work at the VA, and we have tremendous parking lot, and nothing is enough. Visitors, medical representation, social workers, he said he has 75 parking spaces.
Okay. Hold on, Ken, Mr. Tuma, could you please come up and just address a couple of things? With regards to parking and facilities and...
And also the zoning and land use and when it was
Sure.
approved prior to this application.
Okay. We'll go over that again. Well, thank you, ma'am, very much.
Okay, thank you. So the land use and zoning is mixed use. This particular site has approved on it today. Let me get the exact numbers out here. Has a traffic concurrency statement to allow for 57,500 square feet of retail, 40,784 square feet of office. That's what's approved today. What we're requesting to go to is a 140-bed assisted living facility, which would be a net decrease in traffic by 54%. 54%. In regards to parking, the parking requirements would be 35 parking space based on the methodology that the city uses, which is a methodology that is prepared by professional traffic engineers. Our request is to actually increase that from 35 parking spots to 75 because our applicant has a significant experience in high-end assisted living facilities and recognizes that they will have extra staffing there. What you won't have, residents won't have cars there. This is an assisted living. Mr. Dwyer's here. He's happy, can answer the specific questions. Average age is 80, 85. Thank you.
Yeah, but let me just say, so bottom line is, let me just try, what was approved there originally was far more intense. How many square feet of retail?
It was 57,000.
57,000 square feet of retail, okay, plus office space. It would be, like he said, 50% more traffic. This is a far lesser use. This is very good for you because it lowers the intensity. These are also, this is going to be, as you well know, an assisted living center. These people aren't going to be driving in and out. They're going to be living there and staying there. So this is a far less intense use. We're not adding to the traffic. We're taking traffic away. We're taking intensity away. That's why I was so excited about this before. This lessens the impact of traffic on Central Boulevard. So it's a whole different, I mean, this is really what you want to see, to be honest. We're not expanding the use, we're cutting it in half.
Can I just ask a question with regards, if it stayed the way it was with retail commercial, how many parking spots would be allowed on that site?
5,000 square feet
So
multiplied by...
divided by
Just a roundabout.
200,
It
what
would
would
be
be?
one per 200. It would be about, it would depend specifically on the use, but it could range about from 250 to 350 parking spaces.
Just imagine 250 to 300 parking spots of retail commercial, people leaving possibly every hour onto that road. Now you're downsizing to really a self-supported facility with 75 parking spots, which are mostly going to be employees who are parking there, and they're there all day, and some visitors. So this is a tremendous improvement from the zoning, that's the way it is now, to downsize everything along that corridor, because we know it's busy. We know it's a busy avenue, and this certainly helps in that whole area in terms of traffic.
Sometimes it's hard to, when we start talking numbers, it's kind of hard to grasp, so we'll just kind of put it in a frame of reference. 57,500 square feet of retail is similar to a large Publix.
Publix, right.
That's kind of the square
Right.
footage, so thank
In
you.
a 40,000 square foot office building.
Right. So you would have
It could be a
you could have a Publix and a two-story office building there, and that's not what we need to
The
see.
Nova building is
Yeah.
75,000 square feet for a frame of reference.
So essentially, that's what was previously approved, and what they're asking for is for this facility in lieu of that commercial shopping center that was previously approved before tonight.
Well, I think we also need to discuss, the fact is that this will generate a lot less traffic than a residential neighborhood for the same size. Quite a lot less. As a matter of fact, one of the biggest traffic generators is residences. 10 trips per day.
The 54% reduction is not just the reduction on the commercial, it's based on the entire PCD, including the commercial. So it's a reduction in all of the home traffic, too. It's a very significant reduction.
That's a big number. I didn't realize it also included the residential, because that's probably the majority of the trips.
And just the architectural design of the building is, I mean, it just fits in that area beautifully, so.
Yes, the architecture of the building took in specifically the elements of the residential to make sure it's compatible with the residents to the north.
And as Councilman Russo said, a lot of people don't come in here with projects looking to downsize what's already approved on there. So we're very fortunate for this opportunity, and that area is going to benefit significantly from less traffic and having a beautiful facility is there as well. So I think it's a win-win for everybody, including the city. Okay, thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak for or against? No? Okay. I'm going to close the public hearing and bring it up for discussion or a vote.
Move resolution.
I have a couple.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm not moving anything.
I was waiting for the mayor to say go.
Well, I always say discussion or a vote. She has discussion,
And I said I had discussion.
please go ahead.
Well, first, when this project first came about a long time ago, I said it was 10 pounds of sugar in a 5-pound sack, and I was not very happy about it at all. So I'm very happy that we are reducing 3,000 trips, 54% of the traffic on this. I'm also very happy that there is a right turn lane, which a decel lane, so that would help with traffic moving. We're not going to have to wait for people to turn right into this facility, because, as I've stated a million times, I would like the intersection to have a right turn lane, but having this have a right turn lane will be helpful. So the intersection of Hood and Central, which needs a turn lane as well. And one day the county hopefully will provide it for us. I am getting frustrated, as I said in our staff review, with the Seacoast and FP&L constantly chomping at all of our preservation and our landscape buffers, so I'm happy that we are going to be working towards not just reducing our buffers to allow FP&L easements, that we're going to adequately fit them and make sure that the landscape is within the areas. And with that said, the same comment I had with the fire station would be with this. When there is an existing preservation area, it's not as healthy as some in the gardens, but it is getting reestablished in this area, so I want to make sure that same thing. I've seen this happen at Evergreen when we are supplementing the understory of the preservation area, that we have that on separate zones for irrigation, and that the native vegetation is not going to be, well, obviously we know slash pines are temperamental, so that it's not going to be affected when we are going through the heel-in period. And in addition to that, I did have a chance today to review the landscape plans, somewhat detailed. When we have the parking lot, and this is the case for every shopping center, every facility, not just anything anywhere where we have a parking place or parking field, the landscape that's within the terminal islands, although in this case I see that the material is low, I'd like to make sure if there's any substitutions that we don't have material that is high that's going to help or hurt our traffic visibility for traffic. An example of that would be the Donald Ross Village CVS, where when you're trying to turn out of the parking lot, you can't see because the cocoa plum is so high. We need ground cover in our terminal islands, and ground cover only, not species that are going to be high and hurt visibility to help promote accidents. We want to do the opposite. So I want to make sure that that's the case when we go through this process.
Good points. Yeah. Any other comments? All right. I'll entertain a motion.
Move Resolution 8, 2015.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. Next up is Resolution 9, 2015. Will the clerk read the title?
Resolution 9, 2015, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, approving a site plan and major conditional use application for a 140-bed assisted living facility within Parcel B of the Central Gardens Planned Community Development, PCD, located on the west side of Central Boulevard, south the intersection of Hood Road and Central Boulevard, is more particularly described herein, providing conditions of approval, providing waivers, providing an effective date, and for other purposes.
Going to open the public hearing. Ask for any ex partes again?
Same as the first.
Same as mine? Okay, since this was a combined presentation with Resolution 8, 2015, anybody wishing to speak for or against this resolution? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing.
And we just incorporate all the presentation and stuff into this since it was combined.
I'll open, okay. Now we'll close this public hearing. It's kind of broken. I'll bring it back up for discussion or a vote.
It's on his head.
Move for Resolution 9, 2015.
Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. Congratulations. Next up, we have any additional resolutions for discussion? No? Any items for council action or discussion?
I got an item. I don't usually have an item, but I got an item.
Both you guys have items?
I know the way all of you feel about Dr. Gene Wiebe, and I know, Marcy, you've said maybe we should be doing something. They're going to start that process, and I don't usually like to do something from a city perspective because I don't think it's the right thing to do, but I sort of think it is here. That college is very, very important to us, and I think we should send a letter letting the Board of Trustees know how important Palm Beach State College is to our city and all of Palm Beach County, and that it's that how good Dr. Wiebe cares about our community, how well we've worked together, and we'd like to really hope that they strongly consider her. Something along those lines, and maybe the mayor could send a letter.
Well, my only recommendation is that all 5 of us sign it. I don't think it should come from me. I think it should come from all of us.
Last time, so
Yeah, I think we should all sign it, and Jack, if we can maybe have Ron or staff put something together.
We'll have staff create that for you.
I usually don't like to do that, but I think this is important, and not to mention, I see other cities are sending letters to parole boards on city letterhead.
Don't even go there, Joe. Don't even go there.
Before we do that, I want to clarify. I'm an adjunct professor, so I'm an employee of Palm Beach State College. Can I sign that letter?
I would stay off it. I think the 4 of us could sign it.
No, we'll just tell her you didn't want to sign, so that's...
I just didn't tell her that.
No, I don't think you should.
No, I don't think
Probably not.
I agree. So the 4 of us, if we can get on that letter,
that's
Do you
fine.
want to
Get that
sign
out.
one letter, or do you want a letter each?
No, I think we should sign the same letter. I think it looks nice from one letter, all 4 of us on there. I think we should do it.
And I would also...
I agree.
And if you could put a footnote in about David saying...
Yes,
this...
please do. Please do.
Make sure that he can keep his job?
No.
We'll make sure that they know he refused to sign.
No, it's not. No, just tell him we think he's applying for the position.
Oh, that's terrible. All right, Eric? Yeah,
one thing.
what you got?
As you may know or may not know, I think you all do, that the North County Airport has kind of been an issue over the last year and a half. The Airport Authority is interested in putting 1,500 feet extra on the north-south runway to accommodate larger jets. A lot of meetings have been held, private and public, with residents, and the NCNC, which Sal Faso represents, has taken it upon themselves, along with PGA National, to discuss this matter with our county commissioner and others. Well, Bruce Pelly in particular from the Airport Authority, and they've asked the airport has asked the Chamber of Commerce to weigh in on this as well, and support their request. And I went to the last public meeting of the Chamber of Commerce Government Committee. You were there, David, and I spoke, and Sal Faso spoke, and there is a consensus forming now that some of these communities that are impacted may be willing to change the MOU, which we signed back in 1992. Well, you weren't here.
I wasn't here on Saturday.
No, Joe was here. Actually, I wasn't here. It's 1990. It was prior to my being on this council. Joe was on the council. He was a party to it. And I just wanted you to know that I have been attending these meetings, and well, some of the things that they've talked about actually is to clarify some of the things that were left out of that MOU, i.e. the weight of planes for all of the runways versus one of the runways. And they're starting to talk about restricting the jet traffic to 20,000 pounds or under. From anecdotally, I can tell you that there are jets that are exceeding the 1,250-pound limitation today. That is in place. I know pilots who've been out there who have told me that, actually shown me pictures of planes that are heavier than the 12,500-pound limit.
Okay.
12,000, did I say 1,200?
1,200, yeah.
12,000.
I was like, well, that's a small plane.
That's a very small plane.
It's a hovercraft or something.
Yeah. So what I'm doing, and I wanted to let you know, is to keep monitoring this, and there's going to be some more discussions. What I suggest, I'm hoping in the future, before we change anything. I mean, this council, 4 of us out of the 5 of us, will be gone in 2 years, and I was here during that period. I made my bones on that airport, you know that, and Joe, you were party to it too. You were, yeah, big part of it, and before I leave office, I want to make sure that airport is protected going forward. The residents are protected from any ill effects of the airport as it evolves over the years. So I don't want to leave it to an inexperienced council. I have to say that because we do have some history on this council that will be gone, and so I'm acutely aware of that. So before we do leave, I would like to get input from the public. The NCNC has been very helpful in doing this because they have representatives in all of these different communities in our city, and they send out material and they vet it and they look at it. But I think we need to do that too. I don't think we should be relying necessarily on what they tell us, although they're doing a lot of groundwork for us.
They need to come to us to change something.
I know that. That's what I
mean.
mean.
We're going to get it eventually.
And
anyway,
I've pointed that out.
That's great that you're monitoring. Just keep us in the loop.
Yeah, I've pointed out that at many meetings. This is Palm Beach Gardens' issue, and the City Council is the only body that can change that memorandum of understanding. And that's why I say, before we leave, I'd like to update it, if we're going to at all, and make sure that what we leave in our wake is acceptable to this community.
Right.
Before we update anything, I'd like to have an education
Yeah, that's what I'm
from
saying.
the airport
Right.
as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I
no,
want
we'll-
to know,
Yeah.
They got to.
what they're.
They will. I will be asking them to present to us.
You probably don't even know what they got now.
I do know
Yeah.
what they got now because I've flown into it.
No.
but you don't know
You
what
don't
the
know the
memorandum
interlocal
of
agreement.
understanding is.
Oh, okay. Oh, then good.
It's got 13 or 12 or 13 points on it. It's things like noise monitoring. It's things like hours of operation. The weight and the size of the runways are in there as well. But it's and no commercial flights, no regularly scheduled flights. Things like that. They keep it a regional airport, and we want to make sure that it stays that way. These are the kind of things that are in there. Before we take any action or anything, I'll make sure you have all that information
Yeah,
for
I
you
do,
to...
but I want to also educate myself on
Yeah,
basic
again,
knowledge versus what
Yeah.
happened in 1990.
Yeah, I don't want to leave office and not know that the public is protected from...
It's a very simple thing. It's all about the noise.
It's all about the noise. It really is.
Yeah, but the perception is
And
out
this
there.
was, and I don't know that it is now, but this was the most restricted regional airport in the country. So I don't know, if anything else since then has been
And
changed.
back then, jets made a lot more noise than they do today. In fact, prop planes make a lot more noise than the present jets today. So jets are not the terrible thing that some people think they are. We just don't want it to become another PBIA in the North County. That's all.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we need to be certainly educated on what's now and what's proposed.
I just want to let you know. Thanks.
Great, thank you.
Adjourn.
No.
Oh, sorry.
You know, you're like David. You're jumping ahead of the game here.
I didn't do that.
David didn't do it today. David might have an issue he wants to talk about.
I might.
I don't, but I don't. City attorney report? Okay, thank you. Now can we have a motion to
Go
adjourn?
ahead, Marcy.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye, 5-0. Thank you. Good night, everybody.